All right, guys. Welcome to the FFA Masters League. This is the season 32 final. I haven't. This happened about a week ago or so, and I haven't seen the game yet. So I'm not going to be spoiled with what happens in the game here. We have a pretty stacked cast that made it to the end here, to the final, and I'm going to go around with each of those players and name those briefly here. Sorry, one second. My dog is barking here. All right, guys. So at the top we have Sheik. He's probably the most known solo player, and he's been playing free for all for a couple seasons. He's been playing a lot of custom games. He's also been playing on the ladder through W3 Champions. So he has learned free for all, and he's certainly one of the better free for all players that we have now. Combination of excellent micro and a pretty good game sense and understanding. You see on the top here, this is kind of popularized by another player, Qwest, who we're going to get to. It's a Necropolis Crypt build. So you skip the Ziggurat in the early altar, and the idea is to get 210 lumber as soon as possible with your first ghoul for a fast tech. What this allows you to do is get to tier 3 as soon as possible and get your 3 hero combo, and also be able to produce gargoyles soon as well. Of course, there's some risk with this build in that you can get rushed. It doesn't often happen in free-for-all, so it's a greedy build that many undeads play now. Just to go clockwise here, next we have Trunks. Trunks is a very tough player. He basically invented the strategy of playing Demon Hunter, Naga, Priest of the Moon. And this combo at first didn't seem very good just because Naga isn't a great free-for-all hero. But Trunks has shown it to be very effective. And he's one of the toughest fighters, if not the toughest fighter, as far as army compositions and levels and micro in free-for-all. And he's definitely going to be a tough out here. Next up, we have Nightwing, aka Eshan. Eshan is a very good player. Mixed opinions, I would say, on him. Controversial is a good word to use to explain Eshan. He's been around free-for-all forever, as long as I have, which is, pretty much since the beginning of the Frozen Throne. What is that, 15, 18 years, something crazy like that if you start to think about it. A ton of FFA experience, probably more than pretty much anybody. Wow, very interesting here. So I want to quickly pause and get into Qwest before I miss what's happening in this replay here. So Eshan is, as I said, he's very good. Now, he plays a style which some people don't enjoy, where he really uses chat and manipulation, to his benefit, but he's intelligent about it. But make no mistake, he does know how to fight. He does understand army compositions, but yeah, you almost have to mute the chat when facing some players like Eshan. Otherwise, even the best and most experienced players will be manipulated over time, through the chat. But we'll see if that's going to play a role in this game or not. And the next player we have is Qwest. So Qwest is, again, this is the Qwest build, right, that Sheik is doing. Well, it's Qwest build named after Qwest. And he is, the master of this kind of greedy macro. He also uses manipulation in chat frequently and to his advantage. Qwest is very cunning, and he's made some of the more intelligent moves in different FML games, whether it's finding the one spot to have an island, or creating a certain strategy or a build order. Now, it's interesting because in this lineup here, I'm very excited for this replay because both Qwest and Eshan are two of the very best free-for-all players in today's game. Both have good micro and good macro, but both really rely on that chat and manipulation type style and outwitting their opponents. So they're kind of similar in play style here. And then on the top and on the right side is Sheik and Trunks. They definitely both know how to manipulate and use chat to their advantage as well. but their playstyle is more micro-centric. So we kind of have brains, you know, versus brawn, two of the very best microers and two of the very best, you know, chatters, so to speak. So it's an interesting blend of players. And I'm going to start the replay here in just a minute here. I just want to also point out that this map here is chosen by Qwest, who is the #1 overall seed in the season. So this is his map choice. It's an interesting map choice, and I guess I get it and understand it, because you can get this early expansion that doesn't have any creeps on it, right? So you can really, you know, even though Qwest is already greedy, he can be super, super greedy by just getting this early expansion, you know, teching super quick as well. You know, he built another Necropolitan altar on this side. He's really, really planning for the late game. He's not going to be expected to get rushed or anything like that. And now I'm seeing a grunt and a Blade Master from Eshan already, so pretty bold move there. We're gonna see what happens, and if he does continue to try to rush him out. This map itself, if you guys are familiar with the map Friends, where they have it's, you know, a 4-on-4 map where they have 2 mines together on each corner, or each side here, excuse me. It's similar to that. Obviously, it's built for free for all with just the 1 gold mine and the extra mine here. But there's a ton of gold on this map. So I do also understand the map choice from Qwest. If, you know, maybe he doesn't want a smaller map because he's fearful of getting rushed out by Sheik or Trunks. And, you know, obviously on a larger map with more mines, it's going to play to the benefit of Qwest or Eshan, you know, who have more free-for-all experience. And, you know, as the gold counts get higher and the army compositions and hero levels, you know, they're going to have more opportunities to let their experience shine and outplay or outmaneuver, you know, maybe Trunks or Sheik. The last thing that I want to say is it looks like, I believe Eshan picked Orc, and everyone picked their respective races. We have a couple undeads, Orc and Elf. I would say that all races are pretty much equal in strength and free-for-all at this time. Maybe human is slightly weaker depending on the map and depending on certain situations. But I certainly do like this combination of players and this combination of races. All right, so I'm gonna start the replay here in just a minute. Just want to get the intro out of there. I'm gonna lower the game sound just a little bit, as I'm being advised to do. Okay.
A player's forces are under attack.
Wow. Okay, so this is pretty insane that we're seeing a rush from Eshan on Qwest. Now, Qwest and Eshan have some bad blood, certainly. Again, they kind of have similar play styles, and, you know, they both probably think that they need to outsmart the other player, you know, ultimately. So I think that either of them feels like they have a better chance to win if the other one is not in the game. But pretty crazy move here from Eshan, aka Nightwing. He would never rush in another instance, but he must have thought, wow, and he just left right away. Unreal. Wow. Okay, so it looks like Eshan's plan, you know, obviously in rushing Qwest immedately, he knows that he's not going to have a hero or even a ziggurat to defend, and he's going to go super greedy. Qwest is never going to expect a rush from Eshan. And again, with all this gold and Eshan being on the outside now of what is this 3-way, if he could rush Qwest out in theory, Eshan would love the 3-way. Now Eshan's not going to get rushed by Trunks because it's a 3-way. These players are going to hoard gold, and Eshan is going to have this opportunity to get these mines, right? More so than Trunks, in theory, because Trunks is now surrounded by these 2 players. Now, I think it was... Qwest certainly left a little bit too early. It's kind of a rage quit there. You know, Qwest and Eshan are 2 players that have been playing forever. Neither of them have an FML championship before this game. So they both really want this, and I think that was a pretty high IQ move from Eshan to do the rush. I would have liked to see a little bit more defense early, you know. Maybe his altar was coming up soon. He could defend with some ghouls, you know.
A player's forces are
But
under attack.
so be it. Nice move from Eshan.
Town is under siege.
It looks like this is gonna be a long game, guys, because it's a three-way now. So super early with all this gold. So I will end up fast forwarding through some parts. I think almost certainly because I imagine there's gonna be significant hoarding phases where, you know, all players are just mining the gold mines on 50 food. The reason why that happens in a three-way so early like this is because in a three-way, players are not incentivized to, you know, make an army and try to destroy another player too early. Because let's say that Sheik does that. Let's say that Sheik goes to 80 food or 100 food pretty early and starts fighting with Trunks, you know, who then is forced to go 80 or 100 food as well. Well, Eshan is just going to be happily sitting here on 50 food, you know, on multiple mines, and getting a significant gold advantage. And, you know, it goes either way. I mean, it's a three-way, so naturally with 3 players it's unbalanced. When there's 4 players, you know, there's less likelihood of a chance of that. These guys could fight, and then these guys, sure, they both could be hoarding, but at some point it's still a 4-player game and a 4-way game. So, you know, the hoarding player gets checked more so instead of a 3-way. So in a 3-player game like this, I personally would hate playing a game like this. I mean, it's FML final, and it put Eshan in a better spot for sure. That Qwest is out, so I'm sure that he's happy with this at this point. But man, like, you know, you gotta strap yourself in and play a long game. FML final, you know, plus obviously everyone's gonna be hoarding and there's a ton of gold. So it was an interesting spot. Certainly should be a long game. All right, so looking at some strategy so far from the players. I think I need to turn the game sound down a little bit still. And please let me know, guys, if I need to adjust the sounds further, please. All right, so on the top we have Sheik, of course, and Sheik with the early crypts and the gargoyle build that we expected. Now, from the undead standpoint, he's going to want to get the gold mines as soon as he can, right? Which he got his first early expansion, and he got this expansion also, which is easily accessible on this map. And he's going to try to get these red camps as much as possible, right? And the reason being is you're going to be able to get high-level items. He's also obviously going to be able to get a shredder from this camp as well. Scroll of Restoration, that'll be very good in the late game. But ultimately in a 3-way now, it's everyone's intention to creep the map. Like, for the reasons that I said before, people are not going to rush somebody out, especially once it's a 3-way. Because again, there's not an advantage, right? If these guys fight early, Eshan will creep the whole map. Or if these guys fight early, Sheik will creep the whole map. So at this point, it's kind of a race to creep as much of the map as possible and get the largest piece of, you know, the pie as far as the creep camps go. So that's what we see here. The early gargoyles, you know, allow Sheik to creep pretty well also, especially once it gets an orb, which he'll have on his Dreadlord, bringing into the Lich. There it is. Now, if we're going to be looking down on Trunks' side, here's Trunks with the DH Naga. Again, this is his standard. He's going to add Priest of the Moon 3rd. And he's getting some Merc camps. He used his early summon unit, which is fine, to creep. Again, they're trying to get as much of the map as possible in creeping, so that's totally fine. And it looks like Trunks, as usual, has the best of it from creeping so far. He's 4-3 heroes. Nightwing is only 2-1 hero, so his creeping is certainly not as good. But creeping with grunts is definitely harder, especially, and he started out early, kind of greedy with this double expansion. Call it triple expansion, right? Because he expanded both of Qwest's mines. Now, if Sheik maybe was a little bit more in tune with what happened in the game, Sheik would have wanted to grab maybe one of these 2 mines, right? So, like, if I was Sheik and Qwest rushed out, and Eshan rushed out Qwest, I would know that there's these 2 mines right here that are free. So I would ask Eshan, or basically tell Eshan, hey, I'm gonna take one of these mines, right? And because Eshan will allow it. But right now, Eshan is being allowed to be greedy and take both of these, almost 15,000 gold mines by himself. So even though his hero levels are a little bit lower, that's fine. He's going to have a lot of gold and a good position here to level up. Now, from Trunk's standpoint, part of the reason why his hero combo is so good is because of his creeping. And, Demon Hunter, of course, is very tanky with evasion and, high armor as an agility hero and Moonwells. And then the Naga is an amazing hero to creep with second because you can pull creeps and, use Cold Arrow to your advantage. And you can creep ultimately really, really tough creeps that maybe you otherwise couldn't. For example, with Grunts and a BMTC because of the Naga. And Trunks always does this. Let's see if he gives the other boots to the Naga here. Doesn't help him to have 2 sets of boots there on the DH. Trunks always has really, really good creeping. He uses Ancient Wars, using his heroes, etc. So no surprise there. Alright, so back to Sheik. Sheik got both of these corner expansions, which obviously he should. That somewhat makes up for the fact that Eshan got both of these. But here's the thing is that now these gold mines are also up for Eshan. So if you're looking at total gold mine count, at least what's available, not necessarily taken yet, you have 1, 2, counting the main, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Eshan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 for Sheik. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Trunks. Now this one could go either way. It'll probably go to Trunks, which is 5. And then there's 2 in the middle as well. Looks like Trunks got one of these first ones in the middle. Now it'll be interesting if Trunks or someone else tries to get one of these mines down here. Otherwise, Eshan is going to have a ton of gold.
A player's forces are under attack.
And one thing that's specific about Eshan is he's in such a good spot now because he's Orc and because his opponents are Elf and Undead. And the reason why I say that is because Bat Riders are very effective against pretty much any army composition that the Undead or the Elf is going to have, because they're both going to have air units in their army no matter what. Now, even though Trunks does play more of a ground style, he plays Hippogriffs and Hippogriff Riders as well, and especially into the late game, he's going to have to play more air units as hero levels get higher and these AoE nukes are higher as well. Archers become a little bit less effective. So because Nightwing, aka Eshan, is able to sit and hoard all this gold, well, even though he's going to be behind in hero levels, that's fine because he's going to have a shit ton of gold and mass a ton of bats, and he's going to get his experience, even if he doesn't win any fights, just by mass batting armies here and there. There's already someone out. I thought it just started. How many players were there at the start? Yeah, so there was 4 players at the start. And I'll pause it for a second here. This player up here was Qwest. And Qwest got rushed out by Eshan extremely early. Literally the first grunt that came out with the Blade Master. And it was a strategy that Nightwing chose to go with once he found his spawn with Qwest. So this was a pre-planned strategy. And the reason being is Qwest here, again, the blue undead that's out, plays extremely greedy to where he plays a build where he has basically 2 Necropolis and a 3rd, techs it before even his first altar, or Ziggurat, gets this expansion before anything because there's no creeps. So he was, unable to deal with a rush. Now in free-for-all, these greedy build orders are okay, because it's almost always never in a player's best interest to go and rush you out with a Blade Muster and a Grunt, because they're going to fall behind in creeping, in teching, in experience a lot of times. However, once Eshan saw that Qwest was right next to him, he decided to do this, and Qwest gave up pretty easily, almost instantly. Maybe he could have fought back a little bit. He did have a couple ghouls. His altar was almost finished. But he would definitely be behind significantly and probably eventually lose to the rush. But you would have liked to see him stick around a little bit longer, as not to reward Eshan for just a Blade Master and a Grunt rush and basically leave, almost instantly in the FML final. Now, Qwest and Eshan have bad blood, and they're probably the two smartest players to play free for all, as far as like in the late game, maneuvering, strategic moves, diplomacy, etc. So Eshan wanted Qwest out, and he saw that this was an opportunity to do that, and it worked effectively. So yeah, that's why there's only 3 players, and that's why the game basically turned into this now, where everyone's just creeping and getting as many gold mines as possible, and no one's going to engage, most likely for some time.
A player's forces are under attack.
I'm going to pull up the Twitch chat on my phone here, so I don't have to alt-tab each time to respond to you guys.
A town is under siege. A player's forces are under attack. A player's forces are under attack.
All right, guys, let me know about the audio levels as well. Do I need to change the microphone or the game sounds? All right, so at this stage, we're about 15 minutes into the game. Most of the map is crept. Obviously, this gold mine has not been crept yet. But at this point, from audio is pretty fine. Okay, thank you. Yeah, just let me know if it needs to be adjusted, going forward. So at this point, these players are setting up their late game. And what that basically means is they're going to be building their base, right? So in a long game like this, you want to think about kind of late game base construction, like where players are going to be able to come through here. They're going to be able to come through here or through here. So you kind of want to have entryways to your base that's protected. Sheik's base is fine. It's okay, nothing great. The other thing that you're doing at this point, aside from creeping, is you're building your heroes. And this is really important because, just even in solo, it's important to build your heroes, obviously. Like you'll see, Blade Masters buying circlets or, heroes buying scrolls and vulnerability potions. Those things are important in free-for-all as well. However, the bigger, more potent items are more prevalent because the hero levels are going to get high and the game is going to last a long time. So it's worth the investment to really stack your heroes as best as possible. And it gets down to basically min-maxing your item slots. Every hero has 6 item slots, of course, and there's only, limited amount of items available. Now, there is a marketplace, 2 marketplaces on this map. And if you guys didn't know, the marketplace will only have items that can be dropped on the map. So as long as a creep camp can drop that item level, it will appear in the marketplace. So then at this point now, the players are going to, have the essentials. So it's going to be at least, typically you want to have at least 2 town portals. Because in free-for-all, you're going to have to... Oh, look at Eshan getting this creep here. This was a good scout from Eshan to see that this camp was still available. And it's funny that the undead expanded right in his face, but he knows that Eshan is not going to cancel this, right? Because Eshan already has this area of the map, and he's not going to risk being too greedy. If it's a ladder game, obviously he wouldn't have just dropped an echo and haunted the gold mine while the orc player was there. So some of these kind of understandings, right, and what's in the best interest of both parties is interesting, in a league style game. Yeah, why didn't he destroy it? Yeah, so I answered that just a second ago, but to go in more detail, it's in neither player's interest to destroy it. And if you think of it, it's a three-way game. It's a free-for-all, and it's about the last player standing. So when there's three players, you don't want to piss somebody off early or start an engagement early that you don't need to. So basically, if the orc were to destroy this expansion, right, then the undead would want to retaliate most likely and fight these expansions. And then the orc would come and harass these expansions. And ultimately, they would create an enemy with each other early on. When right now, both players, you see, they're at 50 food or less. They're in no upkeep. So both players are just amassing gold. Eshan is at 53 food for some reason. I'm sure he's going to go back down to 50 here shortly.
A town is under siege.
But all three players are just amassing gold at this point. So it's in neither of their best interests to start an engagement or start a war yet. When you do start it, you want to, try to maximize the amount of gold that you can get, find the right opportunity to where you can quickly jump from 50 food up to 80 food or 100 food. And although it seems a little bit strange at first, if you think about it, just like in a fight, right? Like let's say you have three people in a strange fight, that are all fighting each other, and there's no alliances. Are you gonna go and throw the first punch? Most likely not, because there's three people. So if you throw the first punch, maybe you'll get punched by the third party that hasn't been initiated, right? And it's just a weird, awkward balance between three people. So same kind of thing in this free-for-all game. Certainly they will fight, and they will start fighting and engaging each other and kind of trading off. And then what will happen is, everyone will start accumulating gold as they have, and then they'll be fighting and whittle the gold down from each other. Hero levels will get higher. They'll exchange a lot of fights and a lot of battles, which I'm sure we're going to be able to see. And then probably it'll get down to the late game stages when you have experienced free-for-all players like this, where everybody is actually pretty low on gold, where a lot of the bases are destroyed. And then, oftentimes it's just the heroes that are left or just some units. And then there's maybe some deception going on as far as gold counts. Army composition, sometimes players will hide units, right, that they'll scout for, in the corners through or anywhere else, with air units. So I will probably fast forward pretty soon here. You can see, when they pump, we can pump. I don't want to fight while others hoard. And again, that's just kind of the predicament that these players are in. And it does suck. I wish that the final wasn't a three-way right off the bat. It certainly would have been more entertaining to start. But we'll see. It should still be good here. So I just want to check on hero levels, kind of see where players are at. 443 for Sheik. Certainly good hero levels. The items are good as well. I built more like a solo player, to be honest, with all these circlets of nobility on the Dreadlord. That's fine. Typically a Corruptive Health is better on the Dreadlord. But if you have good micro, obviously he gets some HP, armor, and then also the intelligence, which is really important. As an undead player playing against elf or orc, you're going to want to get your Dreadlord level 5 for level 3 Carrion Swarm, which is a little bit different than solo, obviously, but a level 5 Lich and a level 5 Dreadlord allows you to throw a Frost Nova and a Carrion Swarm on a group of units and get kills instantly. So, i.e. a group of Hippogriffs or a group of Bat Riders that don't have Spirit Link on them. And that nuke is really, really part of Undead's DNA in free-for-all, especially once heroes all get above level 5. So I think what he's thinking is he'll rather have the additional mana on the Circlets Nobility, but his Dreadlord is going to be pretty squishy now. And, you're going to be fighting an Orc player with Hex and Stomp, and, ultimately a lot of DPS late. And then Trunks, who is ruthless with killing heroes, focusing the Dreadlord, Mana Burn, Cold Arrow, combination of high-level True Shot aura and a bunch of Hippogriff Riders is a ton of DPS, certainly the most DPS that an elf army can have. So we'll see if this decision to have the Circlets of Nobility instead of Corruptive Health comes back to bite him. Does the Dreadlord AoE hit air? It does. Yep, it hits air, and it always has. But it also hits mechanical units now, which was the more recent change. What won't matter in this game, but Carrion Swarm can hit siege engines and flying machines from human, which has really helped Undead, balance the scales in free for all. Literally just this one change. All right, so looking at Eshan, at the Orc player, heroes are a little bit lower, but they're fine. I think he can certainly be happy with 4-3-3 based on how the map is. His items are a little bit better. He's smart. He has boots on the Shadowhunter and the Torn Chieftain, as he should. Multiple town portals, starting to collect the preps of health. I really do like this Rune Bracers on the TC. That's pretty cool. It's going to help against the Undead Nuke. It's going to help against the Elf Nuke with Forked Lightning and Mana Burn. It helps against any Frostworms, of course, and Chimeras. So pretty good item there. He may end up selling the Rune Bracers later in the game, or possibly give it to the Shadowhunter or Blade Master after his TC gets to level 6. On the BM, again, you're going to want to see damage items, right? So there's not a whole lot of big damage items on this map. Like, he's not going to find a Claws 15 or a Crown of Kings. However, he certainly has good items here. He has the boots +6, which is, of course, very good. A small claws for now, circlet, orb. This item is great. Of course, Scourge Bone Chimes for Orc to give Vampiric Aura is very, very important and awesome with an Orc army that's bloodlusted. So looking good so far. Sobi Mask, meh, it's okay. It's fine for now. He'll probably replace that with the Prepped or maybe another better item from the marketplace later. Alright, so Trunks items. Oh, here we go. Trunks is going to start the first engagement here. So Trunks is basically hitting him just with 3 heroes, not breaking upkeep. Basically saying that he can't have 6 expansions. And that's fine. I don't think that Eshan is going to want to make an army and fight Trunks right now. So they're just kind of manipulating against each other, trying to reduce the other person's gold or expansion count without having to actually face a big army. And at this point, see, he said, but it's fine, take it. But you know what? Eshan has already mined about 10,000 gold from this gold mine, at this point. So, whatever. It's fine. He'll let him have that. Looking at Trunk's items, Trunk always has a great Demon Hunter. He does in this case as well. The Rune Bracers, again, very, very good, especially against the Undead, because you're going to want to try to nuke the Demon Hunter. I mean, not always, right? It's tough to kill Trunk's Demon Hunter because he uses a combination of Staff of Preservation and then the Staff of Teleport to get back into battle. He has the Ring of Protection. Obviously, already has high base armor. And then the Rune Bracers. He would like to have more damage items as well. I imagine he'll probably sell this ring for, another agility, Boots of Quathalis when it's available in the marketplace. So that's why he has this Wisp here. Continue to look at that. All right, guys. So looking at base construction, Trunk's base is pretty vanilla, but it is effective. He has all his ancients up front. And his army is oftentimes going to be a lot of archers and Druid of the Talon. So this is a unique army composition that really only Trunks plays, and it's very effective. Most elves will play the combination of Chimeras and Hippogriffs, right? A really strong anti-ground and a really strong anti-air unit that are very pure. Trunks is a little bit different, so he doesn't usually play air units, especially not early. And he uses a bunch of archers and Druid of the Talon on the ground. And he combines that just with a ton of DPS. With the level 5, level 6 Demon Hunter. Cold Arrow plus high Forked Lightning. Once the Priest of the Moon gains levels and gets a higher True Shot Aura. And then he's super quick with Cyclone. And, he'll always Cyclone your heroes. So, as an Orc player, you have to be ready for that. With the Shaman or Invulnerability Potion, Shaman for Purge. Invulnerability Potion, or obviously a Walker to disenchant, but it's tough. It's tough as an Orc player for sure, because the BM and the TC, they're always going to be flying in the air. And same thing for the Undead player. Now, Trunks really likes to basically focus, or he basically likes to catch whatever hero is out of place, and he can punish that so quickly. And you'll see as hero levels get higher and the armies get higher as well. But he is very, very good at this, and it is extremely hard to stop. And again, he has basically the highest DPS army that you can have in free for all, significantly more than you'll ever see in a solo game. So, to that point of not having preps, like what will happen is, Sheik's Dreadlord or Lich might be out of position a little bit, or even the Death Knight, and then he'll focus it with Mana Burn, Cold Arrow, Forked Lightning, True Shot Aura, a bunch of archers, or which even more effective is when he has all Hippogriff Riders, right? He has 10, 12 Hippogriff Riders plus a bear for Roar, and the DPS is just insane. So, he'll focus the Dreadlord, Mana Burn, boom, 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 Cyclone the Death Knight, and then oftentimes it is difficult to use a Destroyer to devour the Cyclone in time to save your hero. Now, one thing that's going for Sheik and going for Eshan is that, Trunks is only level 1 Priest of the Moon, and to be honest, this is not really Trunks' advantage. This game and this playstyle, like how things worked out, is not really his best type of game. Trunks typically almost always likes to break 50 food, break upkeep early, go to 60, 70, 80 food and take out a player, right? He likes to have the highest hero levels in the game, and that way he's extremely dominant, because not only for the army composition and DPS reasons, also he typically has a hero level advantage. So then, he can take on teaming because the hero focus is so good and so strong. And then, then he'll find spots, right? He'll kill a player, or he'll fight, and then he'll, call for a temporary truce with the player, and then he'll go back down to 50 food. He'll hoard his gold, right, with his highest hero levels in the game. And it makes it difficult to beat, and that's certainly his style. So this game, dictated a different strategy because everybody hasn't broken upkeep yet. So I do think that takes away from some of Trunks' advantage. Eshan, on the other hand, he could not be happier with this game. It is going perfect for him. So he took out Qwest early, didn't have to deal with Qwest, and now he feels like he's in the 3-way and he's against 2 players that have better micro than him and that he can manipulate. And the reason why I say that is because, these guys know about Eshan, and they're not going to let him get away with too much. However, Sheik and Trunks, they're worried about each other, right? Because they're the 2 strongest fighters in the game. And they're always going to be worried about each other all game, because they feel like, hey, if it gets down to it, I can beat Eshan in a fight, no problem. But each other, we gave each other a harder time. So that's the advantage to the 3rd player. That's the advantage to Eshan in this case, right? Because, again, he can kind of sit and scout the map really well and pick his opportunities. And these players probably will not go so hard against Eshan because, again, they're worried about the other player.
A player's forces are under attack.
Do they see player 1, 2, etc.? Yeah, they do. They announced their names at the beginning of the game, which is the rule on these FML games. But yeah, it's anonymous based on the map. But yeah, they know who each other are for sure. All right, so looking at base builds again, Undead's base doesn't matter so much just because Undead's bases are pretty paper thin for the most part. And what I mean by that is that they're going to be destroyed by bats or chimeras or Starfall or level 6 Demon Hunter, etc. But I really don't like the base. It's really, really weak. You can see exposed, from a lot of different ways. Only has 1 shop. So I'm sure that'll be better. But holy cow, look at his gold right now. Sheik has 50,000 gold. 54k and counting. So just insane. I wonder if he's going to beef his base up a little bit more. But yeah, shit ton of gold as expected. And Red made a comment that it's really hard for players to estimate gold in games like this. And it kind of is, just because there's so many mines and we're not sure who's taking these additional mines and how to count them, etc. But I mean, they can safely think that everybody has about the same gold within a 10-15K margin. So 55,000 gold for Sheik, 42,000 gold for Trunks, 37,000 gold for Nightwing. Now I think that Eshan would have more gold, but he's also been investing in his base much more so. And if you see this, his base is strong and protected against an opponent, right? You can see that he's using these trees as a natural barrier. The barracks has an additional shop up here. He left room for his heroes to maneuver, right? So he doesn't get stuck or have to get trapped when he's facing aggression. And he's really investing in these towers, and that's fine. Especially as an orc player, that's fine. Trunks, on the other hand, he doesn't necessarily need to. The Moonwalls play as kind of like towers in defense when you have so many of them, right? And he has the Ancients up front, so that's fine. Now, pretty cool here. Let's take a note of this. Sheik used a Banshee, and he possessed a Wisp from Trunks, and now he's teching an Elf. He's got a Tree of Eternity. It's an interesting move because Elf doesn't really have units that complement an undead army, with the exception of a Druid of the Claw, a bear. So he certainly should get an Ancient of Lore and tech up to a Master Bear and just have a bear in his army. And just that roar alone is certainly worth the investment of this tech. Now he can also, choose to make Mountain Giants, which would be pretty cool. I can't see... Hippogriffs are fine, but you already have Gargoyles, and Gargoyles have better synergy with your heroes and with Stone Form. Chimeras, meh. Sure, that would be fine, I guess. But again, remember, you're going to have to get 3/3 upgrades from the Hunter's Hall on any units that you make from another race. So it may not be cost efficient, even though you say, holy shit, he has 60,000 gold. Like, who cares, right? But ultimately, the gold counts are going to be dwindled. And I'm going to, fast forward this soon and kind of work through this. But we'll see. No units yet. I definitely want to see a bear. I don't think anything else makes sense from this tech. So appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for joining. All right, so Eshan mined this mine out as expected. Trunks got this mine, but there was only 5,000 gold in it again. So Eshan, got the lion's share of this gold mine. He's got both of these corners. Obviously Sheik has all of these corners. So that was interesting that, Trunks could have and should have taken this mine right here, right? Because Sheik got these 3 and Trunks got these 2. Sheik got these 4 and Trunks got these 2. So Trunks could have certainly taken this mine and Sheik would not have, said anything about it. So a little bit of map awareness mistake by Trunks to give up this extra expansion. Now, granted, he did take the middle expansion, so, that does somewhat make up for it. All right, so we will fast forward this, I think, pretty soon. I just want to touch base on what I saw again. So he got another Boots of Quothalis from the Demon Hunter, which I expected. Sell the ring for that when he found it. The Shredder is mining out these trees right here. Let's see if Trunks notices this. And these trees are really important just for his base defense to have this natural barrier. So he should move the Shredder, over here, because he's exposing this open side of his base that, granted, could go down with a Death and Decay or an Infernal. However, typically that doesn't happen. So a bit of a macro mistake from Trunks here, letting his Shredder open up that side of the base. Sheik is also potentially at that spot. Like, this part is important. So he should move the Shredder now, right? So he can just have this entrance here and not have his main base be exposed by this whole side. So he might be running into that same mistake. Eshan, on the other hand, is likely not going to make that mistake. What Eshan lacks, in micro, he certainly makes up for in game sense and an understanding of base building and army composition and et cetera, et cetera. And his micro with Orc is actually pretty good. He's definitely one of the better Orc players just as far as mechanics right now. And there's not a whole lot of great Orc players, really hardly any at this time, but Eshan is certainly one of the better ones now mechanically. So when you combine that with enough time to build a base like this and accumulate a shit ton of gold, he just couldn't be happier how this game is going. This is the absolute best outcome for him right now. Okay, Drew to the Talon. That's interesting. He's gonna add Drew to the Talon. So I didn't consider that in the units, and I do like it. If maybe you can have like maybe 3 Drew to the Talon and 1 Bear, and have that in a separate control group. The thing is, when you're playing gargoyles with undead, it's a lot of times it's about the sheer number of gargoyles you have. So you don't want to have too much of a varied army, or you're going to be outproduced, from opposing hippogriffs. Now against Trunks, it's a little bit different. I certainly do like the Drew to the Talons in this case. We'll see how that works. Yeah, KB, I appreciate your comment. It's been pretty sad state of free for all now. Like, I stopped playing for some time, and I've came back the last few days or whatnot and played some 4v4s. But anytime I play, there's no one searching free for all. So I know that we can find games during the prime time, I think still, but I just think the state of free for all. Plus, it's summertime and people are on vacation and stuff. I think that makes a difference, but I'm hoping that free for all will come back a little bit stronger. I'll certainly play more and play in aggressive fashion. I was considering searching on BattleNet. I think I can still find games on BNet, and hopefully at some point, fucking Blizzard will add the ladder and the rankings that they've been saying for so long. I fear that because War 3 Champions has already done that, that maybe BNet is kind of just handing the reins off to them. But the problem with that in free-for-all specifically is that we just need a large player base, right? And not everybody is going to know how to download War 3 Champions and play on that client. And so there's only going to be a select number of people. And you see that in all game types, right? But especially free-for-all. Like, if there's only, 30 people that play free-for-all or something like that, it sucks. Where on BattleNet, I know that there's probably 5-6 times the player base. So if there were rankings and profiles, then there'd really be motivation to actually grind the ladder and try to be rank 1 on BattleNet ladder. And I promise you guys, if that happens, I'm going to come back and play. I'm going to stream, relatively full time. I'm going to promote it on Reddit. I'm going to promote it on Discord. I'll get everybody in the FFA Masters chat to start playing BattleNet free-for-all instead of War 3 Champions free-for-all. So we can only hope. It's been over a year, so frankly it would be surprising if BattleNet, ladder and ranking profiles come. But they did say that they would do it. They are still promoting the game as far as balance goes, so we can only hope on that. All right, so holy shit, 67,000 gold. That might be the most gold I've ever seen in a game. I think maybe Qwest had like 80,000 one time before, but that is an insane amount of gold. And if you guys are new to free for all, or you're wondering what the hell is this game type, this is stupid, this is silly, it's not always like this. And it's, again, the game it was dictated like this because, for one, it's a huge map with a ton of gold mines, and for two, Qwest was out immediately, so it was an immediate 3-way. So there's just no other course of action in everyone's best interest other than to creep and hoard the map. So it's pretty insane to see this amount of gold, though. Certainly, we're going to see a ton of 100 food fights. I mean, I haven't seen the replay. I see that it's long, and they have a ton of gold, so we should have some good action here coming soon. So I always like to kind of look at bases again. Like, you know, I mentioned to you guys about the shredder here destroying the natural defense of the trees, and he's just continuing to do it, right? He has all this lumber here that I guess he's trying to hide these things, which, I mean, what's the point of that, really? But he's exposing his base now on this whole right side here, which sucks. You definitely didn't want to do that. So, I mean, if you look at it, a 100 food army could roll over this base, right? And then he could die with, you know, 60,000 gold or something. Worst case scenario. It's probably not going to happen, you know. But he doesn't have his shade patrolling much. I think I see. Is this a shade here? No, just a zeppelin. Okay, so he is scouting with this shade. This shade has just been sitting here. And he's getting to a point now where all his gold mines are drying up, so he has an abundance of extra acolytes. So he can certainly just build a bunch of shades and patrol them around the map. And then when he loses the shades, right, from the owl, from
Player's forces are under attack.
the priest of the moon, excuse me, and the witch doctor, etc., then he just gains the food that he needs back to build his army. So he should definitely be sending this out. From Trunk's standpoint, he's also opened up his base, right? Like, part of why his base was good was because this was the entrance. So if you're going to chase a hero in, or you're going to run an army and you're going to get whacked by all these ancients, and then Trunks can kind of play back and forth between the Moonwells and the ancients and defend his base well. But now it's all opened up again here. And I also want to point out that, you know, there's never a time that Trunks does a level 1 Priest of the Moon, ever. And they mentioned that he creeped up 5/5 on his heroes kind of on purpose and added the Priest of the Moon later, which makes sense, and that's fine. But he chose Aura first on his Priest of the Moon in what was basically a sit fest. He definitely should have chose Owl first, because he'd be able to be scouting these things so much better. Now he is using a Hippogriff to scout, which is fine, but you would like to see Owl first from Trunks. Back to Nightwing, let's check out his base. I mean, that is a stronghold right there, if I've ever seen one. He has some towers in the shop kind of early, which is nice. That's jumped out a little bit from his main base opening. So this is allow basically for him to see who's attacking him first and have that initiative with that vision here. And he definitely has a lot of space here. And again, this is so important because oftentimes what will happen is players will build a big base, but then it'll be so crammed together that when you're facing like a 100 food army, or maybe you're facing 2 players at the same time, like you kind of get stuck and lost in your base, and maybe you lose a hero when you don't want to, or maybe, you know, you can't TP and get away in time, or etc. So Eshan, a really good job with spacing right here. I really like this entrance to his base. And then on the other side, you see that this is also very well protected, right? There's just barely a choke here. He's got towers behind here, right? So he can defend from the south side here. And on the other side, I think he's realized that this is his most vulnerable spot. So he's beginning to build up a defense to, you know, defend against this kind of choke as well. So it's always cool to be able to have a shit ton of gold and build a big base like this. And then the other thing is these towers in the mid, right? So he builds these towers against the tree line, which is really nice. So it's effective against chims, you know, if they don't have vision. You know, obviously it's harder to destroy just in general against the trees. And again, he still has all this openness. Now, when you have a ton of gold, you're going to want to be able to jump from, you know, 50 food to 80 food or 100 food, right? Which is the max low upkeep or high upkeep instantly. So the way that you do that is you have multiple production buildings. So looking at Eshan, he has 2 Tauren totems, you know, 2 spirit lodges, 5 or 6 bestiaries, and he could probably add another spirit lodge, maybe even another bestiary, I think. But he has enough, and he has them all in a control group to where, you know, in an instant he can have 80 or 100 food, which allows him to, that plus the base, recover. Like, even if, you know, someone attacks him with 100 food, and he should probably scout it with the different sentry wards that he has, but if somehow 100 food gets to him and he doesn't see it, Well, he's going to be able to prepare his army quickly so he doesn't end up just dying with all this gold, right? So at a moment's notice, he can produce his army. Same thing for Trunks. You know, as always, he has all these Ancient of Wars and Ancient of Winds for his archers and Druid of the Talon. Trunks has created an army, but it's because all his gold mines are drained. So that makes sense. It looks pretty noob right now with these archers and Druid of the Talons and hippogriffs, right? If you saw this on ladder, you'd think this guy is a Tome of Experience. But it's not. You'll see that it's really effective. However, level 1 Priest of the Moon doesn't have the initiative, kind of in a bad spot. And it's funny to say that when you have 50,000 gold, but he's not in as good of a spot as the other two players. Sheik, on the other hand, is still mining somehow. What is he mining? Oh, okay. He's just greedily getting every single possible gold he can by unsummoning while also in no upkeep to maximize the profits there. He's built some moonwells, which is cool. I like that. I certainly like that. I wonder if even a staff would be good. An elf staff for an undead. Maybe not. Maybe it's better to have the slot for a scroll or for boots or prepped or whatnot. Anti-magic potion. That's pretty interesting. I don't think that's necessary really in this case, but obviously that prevents, you know, a hex or a mana burn, or it prevents even a cyclone. Maybe it would be better on the Death Knight. It's pretty cool that he has this elf tech though. We'll see how effectively he uses it. You know, it's going to be micro that he's not really used to. Alright, so Eshan, because of this middle mine and because of these mines, he's the last one still mining. Eshan is almost has the most gold now, 65,000 gold. Sheik 68,000 gold. Trunks 50,000 gold. Trunks also has the worst base at this point, I would say. I mean, Sheik's isn't great either. So you see that these guys are still... He's asking permission to kill his towers. Which I know seems a little bit strange. But again, they're trying to be so delicate because it's a three-way. And you don't have to play like this, right? You certainly don't have to play... excuse me. Where, you know, you're asking for permission and you're playing so diplomatic. But when there's only 3 players, like... You kind of don't want to rock the boat. You want to set yourself up in the best position because only one person is going to win and there's 3 players in the game and they all have the same mindset. Now, again, if it was 4 players, there would be less of this, right? But the fact that it was an instant 3-way, you know, that's why this game is more so like this. Plus, it is the FML final, right? It's the final. And if you guys know anything about free-for-all, you know, guys that play FML, they really want to win, right? They try really hard, especially at this point. So, you know, they're in the final, they're going to try hard, they want to play as best as possible. So Trunks is basically asking Eshan if he can kill these towers. And Eshan says, well, it doesn't look like I have a choice. So he wants to get the experience, of course, from doing this. And he wants to get closer to level 6 Demon Hunter, leaving his other 2 heroes back here. Now, Eshan is starting to build his army, and what does he build, right? It's, you know, you wonder, is he going to build an army with Tauren and Wind Riders, Headhunters, you know, Casters type of army? Well, no. He's going to build Bats. Bats are easy to micro, and Bats are expensive, but he has a shit ton of gold, so Bats basically guarantee experience, you know. He's going to be able to just run this pack of Bats into all these hippogriffs, right? And maybe, you know, they'll staff out some hippogriffs, or he'll be able to catch some with Cold Arrow and Forked Lightning, and the Bats won't be as efficient. But ultimately, they're going to do their job. And if he's smart, he's going to throw Spirit Link on the Bat Riders, so then they won't go down to a volley of Frost Nova and Carrion Swarm. And either way, he's going to get the use out of the Bat Riders. He's going to get the experience, no matter what. So again, that's why he's in such a good spot here. Now, if you look, Sheik still has the most gold at 65,000. Now, he was 10,000 ahead of Eshan, but remember that Eshan had the middle, plus he had both of these. So he took the most of the map, Nightwing. Eshan did. And even though he has slightly less gold than Sheik, he's also invested a ton of gold into making this base, you know, almost perfect. I mean, it's pretty much perfect. I can't see how it could be better. Maybe it could be a little bit more tighter here if he didn't chop down this lumber. But really, really tough base. Really well done. And he still has a ton of gold. So at this point now, it's like, all right, these guys are like, okay, well, I'm going to build my first real army. So pretty interesting from Sheik here. I love this army composition, actually. It's going to be cool to watch. You see that he has undead and elf. And he's playing a bear and a mountain giant, which I thought. He's getting 3/3 upgrades on these guys. He has his Druid of the Talon and his Banshees. So he's going to have Cyclone and Anti-Magic Shield. And potentially Possession, which he probably won't use Possession. It doesn't really make sense to use Possession. Maybe if he can get one off on like a Witch Doctor, right? To have for healing wards or possibly Bloodlust. But it's gonna be an interesting composition. And then he's playing Fiends, and you know the undead standard army is definitely gargoyles. So a fiend-based army though, maybe it works better with with Druid of the Talon and with a mountain giant. But I do think it's a bit of a mistake. Fiends generally are outpaced in a free-for-all game. Once you have a lot of gold, 80 food armies, 100 food armies, high-level hero levels, Fiends are just not as effective. And, you can see that in solo even today. Like, if you watch some happy games where he plays Undead Mirrors, a lot of times he'll play Gargoyles and Undead Mirror. And then it'll get to the end game and all gold mines will be drained. And then Happy will have like between 80 and 100 food of Gargoyles with some Destroyers. And then the other Undead player, who will have a Fiend-based army. And the thing is that Fiends get overwhelmed when there's enough air units, right? Like if there's, if the Fiends almost equal the air units, then the Fiends are dominant. Then you can beat a small air army decisively with Fiends. But if the air army doubles your Fiends, right? If there's 6 Fiends and there's 15 hippogriffs, well, now the 6 Fiends just get overwhelmed because the web is not effective enough, right? You're constantly having to try to push back and kite. So it's interesting to see that he goes Fiends here. I don't think it'll be as effective, but it's certainly a cool army, so we'll see how it goes. Sheik probably has the best micro, him or Trunks. So I'm sure that he could probably make this work. It is an unusual army. All right, so looking at Eshan's army, again, easy to micro, right? That's what the bats are for. He has 2 or 3 of each caster, which is fine. I like that he has 1 raider. We don't see that as much, but the ensnare is very good, especially against Trunks. The raider is very good. And a Kodo. All right, an hour into the game, we have the first fight here, guys. Potentially. Nice pick off there from the bear. I'm sure Trunks was not happy about that. The bear adds so much effectiveness to his army with Roar. But look at this. It's all archers and Druid of the Talon, so it's and Dryads, right? It's such a weird army composition, but it's really, really effective, especially against Orc. Like typically, like in this case, like Orc is so good against Elf if they just mass air, because you can just mass bats, and it's so easy. But this ground army forces you to play differently. And Trunks is so fast and so quick with the Cyclone that this army beats this Orc army, right? It just does. And the Orc is forced to play Tauren, which he doesn't necessarily want to play Tauren because then he's dealing with mass air from the Undead player. So, really, really good army from Trunks. It's just hard to face. And even later in the game, it's hard to face his Orc. And, we've done some theorycraft on how best to face Trunks' army and, kind of concluded that maybe, some free experience here from these casters from the Orc. Just noticed them a little bit too late there. Oh, Sheik is coming into Trunks here. Eshan is okay with that. But yeah, in theory, I think the best type of army to have against Trunks is going to be Walkers, Tauren, like a ton of them. Walkers, Tauren, and you can even skip the Shaman and the Witch Doctors and any kind of Wind Riders really, and basically just have Bats, Tauren, and Walker. Walker's obviously for Disenchant and also for Spirit Link, but that combo makes it easy to micro against Trunks, and the Tauren do their work. Obviously, the Bats can take out the Hippo Riders, and then the Walkers can provide Spirit Link and Disenchant. The reason why it's better not to play Shaman and Witch Doctor oftentimes is because they die so fast to his focus, and ultimately it's a waste of food sometimes versus Trunks. So that's just in theory. We'll see if Eshan will play that type of army composition or not. Didn't get much done there. Just fed him some experience. Didn't make too much of a difference.
A town is under siege.
Oh, look at that. Fork Lightning is super strong, and I think it's underrated for sure. Look at this. One Fork Lightning killed 3 bats just in one shot. It's really, really good. The Naga also scales incredibly well, which you don't see in solo because you don't see a high-level Naga. But as the Naga gets to be level 7, 8, 9, 10, the mana shield is insane. I think it's 4-to-1, 4 damage, and it takes 1 mana. And then her intelligence, the Naga's intelligence scales better than any other hero in the game as well. With the exception of maybe a Lich. I'm not sure. I can look at the stats. But bottom line is, the Naga is going to have so much intelligence and such a big mana pool towards the end of the game, and she'll have mana shield. So effectively, she'll be the tankiest hero. Like, you just won't be able to kill the Naga, right? They'll have, like, imagine it has 1,000 mana at 4-to-1 plus 1,000 HP. Effectively have 5,000 health, which is insane. And then the Demon Hunter, as you see, is going to be stacked with these agility. Once it's level 6, it's going to have the health boost from that as well. It's going to have a staff and a staff back. So Demon Hunter is really hard to kill. And then it's really just about the Priest of the Moon. So, and oftentimes it is about the Priest of the Moon, trying to nuke the Priest of the Moon against Trunks. So he'll have invulnerability potions, he'll have anti-magic shield potions, but that's still the main target. And how about this? Trunks, so just to look at this here for a second, I want to see this fight. I just want to make a note here. So Sheik teched Elf, and you see what he got from Elf, which is cool. Trunks, we didn't notice it, but he teched tier 3 Undead, and he only teched it so far for the Orb of Corruption. Pretty cool, actually. So not only are you going to have True Shot Aura and Roar and Forked Lightning and all this extra DPS, but you're going to have -5 armor. Basically like or is it -4 armor now? 5. I thought they nerfed that. Maybe they took it back. Anyways, now they're going to have that additional armor. So that's pretty cool. I would like to see him maybe add Frost Form. I think would be a good addition to that army. And Eshan also with the tier 3 tech. I imagine he's also going to get an Orb of Corruption here. Pretty cool. All right, let's see this first fight. This should be a good engagement here. How can Elf get UD workers? So he got it through the staff. So at the market here, it's one of the newer items. I forget what it's called. It's basically a staff that provides you 1 charge of charm. So I'm sure he either picked up the staff from Creeping or he bought it, which is expensive. It's about 700 gold. But he must have used it on one of Sheik's acolytes. Alright, so Trunks Bear going down again for the second time. Coil and then sleep before the coil hits. Bit of a miss micro from Sheik. Sheik's army is all anti-magic. It's pretty cool, it looks good, but really it's going to be so hard to fight Trunks' army. And it's for this exact reason. You see all this damage, all this DPS with the Hippogriffs, and then he can dance in and out. So Sheik is going to have to get into the thick of this and really try to kill these Hippogriffs which it looks like he's managing to do fairly well. Yep, more Hippogriff Riders going down. Here's Trunks focusing the casters, which he does do. Oh, see if he saves the Priest of the Moon. Oh, needs a staff. Staff on the Naga. Uses it. Trunks' Demon Hunter is just dominating here. 3 Boots of Clothalis, Orb of Corruption. Pretty cool. Ultimately, both players are losing a lot. Sheik is doing well. I think they're both doing fine. They're both okay with this, you know, getting some experience here. Sheik is going to have to get out here pretty soon. He's going to lose all his Fiends if he doesn't. A little bit late on the TP there. Maybe he could have saved 3 or 4 Fiends. Alright, so Trunks down to 46. Sheik down to 50. Yeah, you mentioned the TP a bit earlier. So pretty even fight. I think that was fine. He got his Priestess Moon from level 1 to level 3, which is certainly cool. Death Knight leveled up, Lich leveled up, maybe even the Dreadlord. They both killed 30 food of each other. They're happy with that for sure. And you mentioned, like, they asked each other, how much food did you lose? Trunks said down to 50, which is true. Sheik said 50. So in a way, it's manipulation, where Sheik said 50. He lost 50. Now he's down to 50 is the truth. But maybe Eshan will hear, oh, Sheik lost 50 food. Maybe Trunks is dominating him. Now, knowing Eshan, probably not. He's going to be smart and scout and not going to be manipulated as much. But it's those little things, and they do add up, you know. Part of manipulation, which, you know, gets a bad rap. It's not just crying in chat for help and lying. You know, there's a skill to manipulating, and, you know, ultimately you're trying to conceal your own strengths and your position and make people, you know, come to a conclusion that's incorrect. And that's going to come into play more as the game gets late, because, you know, it's slowly built up throughout the game, right? Like, maybe he thinks that Sheik lost to Trunks more than he did just now. And, you know, maybe in some fights that he has with Eshan, he doesn't do so well. Or maybe he has a ton of units and fights a lot all game, so it seems like he's blown his gold when he hasn't, right? Or, you know, and it all kind of adds up. And then at the end, you know, you may think that one player is more or less of a threat than they actually are. And ultimately, your decisions in the end game are going to be based on what you think is necessary for you to win, right? And that's always going to be a constant assessment of the other players, which is going to change, you know, as the game ebbs and flows. So Eshan dancing a little bit here. And by the way, guys, are the game sounds okay? I turned them down a little bit. I think they're okay. Let me know if you want me to turn up the game sound more. If you guys are getting tired of me talking. All right, so 663 for Trunks. Definitely happy with those levels. Maybe he got the best of it a little bit from the Undead, but the Undead is 5, almost 555, 554. So Undead is happy with that as well. Eshan is still underleveled, but again, he has by far the best base. He has fortified this part that I mentioned was a little bit weaker. I think he may have accidentally mined this out with this Shredder, which did soften this position a little bit. But then at the same time, you know, it's still relatively the same as these chokes. Maybe this gives a little bit more room for him to TP. So maybe this was on purpose. Certainly Eshan has the best base by far. The lowest levels right now. Trunks' base has gotten better. You see he's added these sporadic moon wells, you know, some ancient protectors here and there. But still, 100 food army is going to just ravage and wreck this base. If he does lose a fight or if he gets teamed, potentially he can really lose his base. Where Eshan, I mean, anyone can lose their base in free-for-all, right? But this base is much more fortified, and it's going to be able to withstand teaming and go into the late game. And typically, I wouldn't recommend investing so much into towers because ultimately the game kind of gets balanced in the end, right? Like players, you wonder that there's teaming in free-for-all, right? But teaming is temporary, and it's ultimately only for what everyone believes to be their own best interest. So if you think about that concept, the teaming will change, right, based on what someone believes. So, they're going to fight each other, right? It's not going to just be like 2-on-1 alliance for the rest of the game. Like, it's going to change. All right, so Trunks pretty exposed here. Let's see if he uses his bats right away. A defensive TP from Trunks. Got the roar. I just want to see. I believe Trunks is the only. No, he's 100 food. So Trunks' army looks pretty weak here, but he has 12 Hippogriff Riders plus has some Hippogriffs, Druid of the Talons, and Dryads. Now Eshan has a good army to face him. He has the Wyvern, which is going to be really good because of Bloodlust. He can focus the Dryads. Kind of dance in and out a little bit, and then use the bats on the air. But I think as the longer the fight goes, it's going to be an advantage to Trunks. We'll see what happens here. Yep, he's got the owl on the Blade Master. Going to be forced to TP. Nope. Dead. Yeah, that's the orb, right, for sure. And this is to my point. Like, Trunks' hero focus is insanely good. And the Orb of Corruption just adds to it. And you can see that a hero can go down so fast. Like, you have to micro so well against Trunks to win a fight versus him. And even if you are winning a fight, it can turn around so quickly. Oh, that's... Okay, so fine bat usage there. I mean, he certainly failed a little bit, as Ponty said, by losing his hero, but it was fine. He got the experience on his other heroes, right, which are getting closer to 5 from the bat explosion, so, it was fine. But you guys saw that, at least from the TP and the Orc army, it kind of looked like the Orc had the better army. And even now, it doesn't look that great. But it's such a good army once he has these Hippogriff Riders because they're so mobile, they do so much damage, and you can hit in and out. And they're arguably better than Chimeras because of those reasons. And then once you add in, he has Drives for Dispel. So if his heroes get slept from the Dreadlord or hexed from the Shadow Hunter, he has a quick trigger on the Dispel. And then your heroes are being cycloned, right? So if your heroes are cyclones and his heroes are not disabled, then it just lets his heroes go to work, right? Between Forked Lightning and Demon Hunter, and it's so much DPS. So you can certainly fight and beat Trunks. Some races are better at it, and sometimes you need 100 food, but oftentimes it's better to kind of play a macro type game from him. But in this case, it's just kind of weird again because all the expansions are mined already. So, and these players want to fight, right? They want to fight because they want to get experience, but they also don't want to blow their gold. But look, guys, these guys have so much gold. So, oh shit, what happened there? I don't know if I can turn back my zoom function now. So I scroll with my mouse and I can't seem to scroll out of it. So when I have the zoom function, typically I'll retype to zoom. I'm not on War 3 Champions, so I think we're going to have to just do it like this. If you guys have another idea how I can zoom back out and I can try that, let me know. I mean, this is fine how it is too, but let me know if you know how I can zoom back out without being able to type in a command. I think the sound effects is fine. Big battles be too overpowering if it gets louder. Okay, turn it down just a little bit then. 40%. All right, guys. So I think I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. We've pretty much touched on everything we want to touch on, I believe. Fast forward to some fights here.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
All right, so Eshan kind of with a army that's trailing behind, not buffed. Undead's army is buffed already. Certainly like this army with Fiends and Banshees more against the Undead player before level 5 TC and before he has multiple Taurens. See how this goes.
A player's forces are under attack.
It's just cool to see a Mountain Giant and a Bear for sure. Some Cyclone. Pretty sweet army composition. Catapult. Interesting. I guess just the effect of just trying to sit behind his towers. I'm not sure how good Burning Oil is. I don't think it's as good as the Undead's one. I forget what it's called. That the A-Bombs and Meat Wagons have. The Disease Cloud. Alright. It's important for Eshan to get a nice stomp here. TC gets slept. That was a Feta Stomp. AKA a bad stomp. Looking really good for Sheik in this position. Wow, look at this. He has the Taurens being cycloned. He has the Blade Master almost dead. The TC has not been stomping. Eshan lost 26 food, and actually surprisingly Sheik lost about 22 food right there as well. These towers are definitely helping Eshan at this point. Sheik is overextending into the towers. Lost the bears, lost a couple fiends when he didn't need to. I think Sheik should have backed up a little bit. Maybe he just feels like he has so much gold. But he should remember that these other players have a ton of gold as well. Definitely a one fight by Sheik. But Eshan did okay and got some experience. He definitely got his ass kicked there. Seems to be okay so far. Blade Master is low and does not have a TP. Let's see if somehow he loses his Blade Master. Big Cyclone on the Blade Master. TC is going to go down. He does have an Onk. Oh, Blade Master goes down. TC must seemingly going down. Shadow Hunter down. Wow. Huge fight from Sheik. Lost everything from Eshan. Just beautiful that he has 5/5/5 heroes now. This makes Undead exponentially better and more powerful in Undead once they have level 5, or excuse me, in Free For All once they have level 5 Lich and Dreadlord. Really great skirmish from Sheik. Now, you know, it's a long game, so Eshan is like, hey, do I have to tell you what happened? So he's basically telling Trunks in so many words that Sheik just beat him. There you go. I lost every unit in hero except one Tauren and TC. He lost maybe 20 food. So why is he doing that, right? You think, oh, why would you just tell someone that you're weak? Now it's going to open up the opportunity for the elf to come and kill me. Well, in a sense, that could be true. But ultimately, it doesn't usually work out like that. So what's happening now is he's telling him that, hey, the undead is killing me. Like, I'm losing this fight significantly. So now Trunks is asking, what are his heroes now? Right? And now Trunks, again, in always trying to measure up other people's strengths and positions in the game, now Trunks is worried about Sheik. He feels like, wow, Sheik really did kill Eshan. Like, he really did dominated Eshan. Sorry, I was poor English there, but now, in a sense, even though Eshan lost that fight, he may have won in the long term because, again, Trunks is going to be worried about Sheik, and the attention is maybe going to be more on Sheik. Maybe it's later teaming, maybe it's just less attention on Eshan. So ultimately losing 30, 40, 50 food there and some heroes, may have helped him out in the long run because at this point, he does seem like the weaker foe, which he is, fighting-wise. But we'll see in the later stages when it comes down to gold and positioning, may work to Eshan's favor. He may be underestimated, to sum it up. So I have to say, I'm really happy to see this army composition. I know I mentioned that gargoyles are really the way to go, but fiends are cool, especially backed up with the anti-magic shield and cyclone. So I think that's probably what he's thinking. And roar, and now he has masses of fiends. I mean, what is that for fiends? That's 10 fiends. 10 fiends. So interesting control groups. I can't see his control groups necessarily. All right, so big fight coming in here. Trunks with the advantage. Looks like Undead is scrambling a little bit. Let's see what happens here. Wow, what happened? What happened there? It sounded like a hero died. I guess not. Wow, forced to TP. Really nice job from Sheik, man. Again, typically these fiend armies are just not very good, but I think the combination of these other casters, Cyclone, Anti-Magic Shield, obviously got level 5 heroes, and the fact that Trunks heroes are not super high yet, right? Like, I would be surprised if I saw fiends at the end of the game when these heroes are level 7 plus. But well done. Nice fighting from Sheik. Really impressive game from him so far. He accumulated the most gold of any player. He's fought the best of any player. He's done really well. Nice game from Sheik so far. Reload F word. Knees Chow, I'm not sure how to do that or what you're saying. Is that how I can increase my zoom again? Because I can go down, but this is the max that'll let me go up. Again, I think it's probably okay. Alright, so looking at gold counts again, still very healthy. 54k, 41k, 44k. Everybody's 100 food. Eshan with the lowest levels, but again, probably the least amount of attention at this point because of this fight here. And you know, he also lost his hero versus Trunks here. So he's going to be naturally underestimated, potentially. Looks like another fight from Trunks here coming up. Reload and fast forward. Got it. Yeah, as long as this is okay for you guys and you can see this fine, I won't do that. If you want me to, I can definitely reload it and zoom it out. Alright, maybe I'll do that. I'll do that after this skirmish here. Alright, so we're at 1 hour 18. I'm going to restart the replay. Unbind mouse wheel. Yeah, I need to do that for sure. It's funny because it'll happen to me when I'm playing in a game as well. And all of a sudden I'll be like all zoom fucked. Alright, I'm just gonna reload the game like you're saying. Whoops, wrong one. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're going to fast forward to 1 hour 18. Keep my zoom here.
Research finished. Research finished. Our warriors have engaged the enemy. Our gold mine has collapsed. Our sacred grove is being desecrated. Our gold mine has collapsed. Our gold mine has collapsed. Our gold mine has collapsed. Your building Our gold mine has collapsed. Your building is Our gold mine is under. Our warriors' gold mine has collapsed. building is complete. Your building is complete. Upgrade finished. Our warriors have engaged the enemy. Upgrade finished. Our sacred grove is being desecrated.
The sleeper has awakened.
Our sacred grove is being desecrated. I stand. Your building is complete. Your building is complete. Your building
In the face of danger!
I stand ready.
Alright guys, so we're back. I'll keep it on 4 speed for now. Maybe up it a little bit if nothing is happening. Which it seems like, holy shit, this is going to be a long game. So we definitely will fast forward at all the spots that make sense to fast forward at.
Our warriors.
Alright, so Trunks with the advantage there in that fight. Seemingly he had the jump in that fight. And again, his heroes are so hard to deal with if you don't have great positioning and enough fiends. So maybe he didn't have, like before in here he had 10, 12 fiends. You know, he could handle all the air units. You know, to my point earlier about the number of fiends versus number of opposing air units. In this case, either way, you know, he lost his fight, and now Eshan is kind of coming in from the side. Now, Sheik is still obviously in a fine position. He's going to defend this. He has a decent base. But, you know, as the orc player, you know, you should always try to be thinking if you can just kind of cut someone's throat and just finish the game. Now, in this case, they have so much gold, so even if he destroyed his base, you know, he would be getting acolytes away, etc. He has zeppelins with acolytes in them, so that's not going to happen realistically. But this could be a good chance for Eshan to gain some experience because, you know, in straight up fights he didn't do as well. You know, he still has a lot of gold, but he's definitely going to want some experience. So smart move to come, I think, to Sheik right now, and he should be able to get some XP here. Even some A-bombs from Sheik. Finally gonna go the gargoyles against the wyvern. You know, the fiends were good though. The fiends allowed him to preserve his gold also. Because, you know, gargoyles have been reduced in cost by 10 gold in a recent patch. But before that, and even now so, they're one of the most expensive units in the game. Right behind flying machines. Based on gold compared to food. And let's see here, watch this fight here. So some gargoyles to the wyvern. Maybe not enough gargoyles for the wyvern. Spirit linked. He does get them. Eshan maybe with a bit of a mismicroed fight, but you know, he's still doing fine. He killed his gargoyles. Sheik killed his wyvern. That's fine. TC goes down. Rock Golem is out. Really going for it. Interesting use of the Rock Golem there. You know, this is an item that you could potentially save until the late game. But he really wanted to get a hero kill. And, I mean, he did. He got the Dreadlord. Sheik killed his Tauren Chieftain. They both got experience. 5/5 heroes now. Sheik has to be almost 6/6/6. Yep, level 5 Dreadlord. Eshan saying he lost 20k gold, needs to chill. Alright, so everyone is relatively the same gold. Sheik with the worst base, for sure. So this army is just so good, man. It's so hard to face as an orc player. It's like, because if your heroes get in range, no matter who it is, if it's a TC, the Blade Master, they're being focused with Cold Arrow. mana burn, orb, all this DPS, and like he just couldn't get his TC in there to get a stomp like before it gets demolished. So then you have to play a game where you have bats to kill the hippogriffs, and then you're able to maybe use a speed scroll or TP in position with a big army to kind of like overwhelm this ground army. But it's really hard to get into the teeth of this army. So we'll see what Eshan does here. Obviously towers help, with the tornado doing some work on the towers. I love this AoE damage from the Demon Hunter just wrecking these towers. Oh, not great on the bats there. So hard to fight for the orc though. I mean, oh, quick hero kill. Even the best orcs will struggle against Trunks, against this army. It's so difficult to fight. So now all these towers that Nightwing had, you know, the base was great, but they've kind of didn't serve purpose. I mean, yeah, I guess it defended. It helped him not lose his main. So, you know, there's that. But it's a lot of gold lost. And, you know, over time, Trunks just killed it with his Demon Hunter. And he always will, like these clumped towers. So I don't mind the clump towers, ultimately. But maybe against Death and Decay, potentially with the Lich later. And the Demon Hunter ultimate plus the tornado, which does good against clump towers. Maybe it would have been better for Eshan to space out his towers, right? Like kind of just all throughout his base. All right, so everyone's gold is about the same, right? 39, 44, 37. So relatively the same gold. Trunks has 775 heroes. The best heroes in the game. You know, yep, for sure. He's got good items. His base is pretty good. You know, he's doing good. Sheik has the second best heroes, arguably the best once this Dreadlord gets level 6. His items are not as good. Again, he's really favoring these circular nobilities over preps of healing, which again I don't really agree with. Maybe he's not going to be punished for that. I mean, he lost his Dreadlord once so far. I think later in the game he's going to be punished, is if I could predict that, from not having preps of health. Now, not having a prepped on your Dreadlord and doing circlets instead, you know, that's a viable strategy because, again, you have the extra mana, right? And you still get some health. And a lower HP pool ultimately means that Coil is more effective as well, right? If the Dreadlord has 1500 health, well, you know, the Coil is not going to heal him as much, you know, as far as the percentage of his total health. So I don't mind it. I would have a prepped, at least one. He should be looking for, in the market, maybe a Pendant of Energy. Now, I know Pendant of Energy got nerfed. So, again, maybe that's his thought, having the circlets instead. You know, each circlet gives, 30 mana for a strength hero. The Prepped of Energy gives 100 mana now, down from 150, if I have that correct. But still, maybe a Prepped of Energy would be good on the market. Looks like he's going to get something from the market. Or at least he's looking. And maybe it doesn't drop on this map. If it doesn't drop on the map, like I mentioned before, it would not be available in the market. A lot of people don't know that. You know, they're not sure what to find in the market, but it's going to be based on just the item tables on the map. So anything that drops on these red camps, you know, can go in the market. And then anything, I mean, any camp, orange camps, etc. But yeah, if a Pendant of Energy doesn't potentially drop from like one of the orange camps, then maybe he can't grab it. I'm not sure. Looking at Eshan's items, this level 6 TC is so important for him. Obviously, because of the ultimate now, he'll reincarnate, full health and full mana. But it basically gives him an extra life because, you know, if you had to think that, you know, these are pretty much the two scariest players as far as losing your heroes. He has to face Trunks and Sheik in a final. So anything he can get to preserve his hero's health is great. And that's certainly why, you know, this level 6 TC is amazing. The Shadow Hunter, interesting, he got a poison orb. So, did I miss it? I guess he has Undead and Elf tier 3. Not sure where his Elf tier 3 is. There it is. So, Undead and Elf. So, okay, that's cool. I guess this was here for some time, but he has some Moonwells, which is a cool move. I wouldn't have an Orb of Poison, though. I just don't think it's very good. I mean, he has triple orb, and that's certainly cool. I would just have the Orb of Corruption on the Shadow Hunter, and I would just sell the Orb of Venom. I don't see that there's an advantage in having the Orb of Venom. It does give you some DPS, but, I mean, whatever. You'd rather have, if anything, another Orb of Lightning if you're going to have an orb, or put the Orb of Corruption would be the best move on the Shadow Hunter. Triple Boots of Quel'Thas on the Blade Master is cool. I do like the 1 Proactive Vitality. You know, you want to have some health. Obviously, the Blade Master has been going down to Trunks' hero focus. So, an Invulnerability Potion would probably be best to have as well. Maybe I'd have that instead of the TP. But it's just hard because you want that 3rd Boots, you want the Orb, you want the Prepped. So, it is hard to squeeze in an Invulnerability Potion there. Interestingly enough, he has another Stone Token. He used one here. So that's kind of a cool consumable item to hold on to, because certainly the gold investment from a Stone Token can pay off if you are able to Storm Bolt a hero, right, effectively and kill it. And between Hex and Stomp and now a Storm Bolt effect, you know, you kind of have a triple disable. Definitely requires some more micro to be able to do it, but even if he kills 1 hero through this manner, it's definitely worth the investment. And then from Trunks' side, on his heroes, Boots on the Priest of the Moon, meh, it's an agility hero. I guess that's okay. He should rather have a Prepped of health on the Priest of the Moon, I think. You don't need any preps on the Sea Witch because of Mana Shield, which at least has level 1 right now. And the Robe of Magi is effectively a Prepped of health in this case. He has a Devotion Aura, and so does Eshan. Devotion Aura used to be an automatic sell, but it has been buffed to where it gives... This tooltip is wrong. I think it gives 1.5 armor now. Yeah, I think so, right? On the Naga. I'm not sure if they didn't update. I know it was 2 armor, and then they reduced all aura items slightly, but anyways, still a good item there. And then I just want to look at the Demon Hunter, and then we'll start the game again here, guys. Anti-magic on the Demon Hunter to prevent sleep. Disable. All right.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at the mini-map and kind of pause on an engagement. Eshan is calling help for Trunks. And he sees it with the Shade. Sheik does. Instant Dispel. Got a couple Dryads. Again, so much DPS from this army. Trunks with a Healing Ward even for his consumable item. And these consumable items are big in free-for-all. Like Scroll of the Beast, Healing Ward, the Rock Golem. You know, they do make a difference on these big armies. Just non-stop Cyclone on the TC, on the Blade Master. Torin R doing work here. Some archers going down. Oh, he got the Priest of the Moon. Can he save the Blade Master? Doesn't save the Blade Master. I made a note of having a Prepped of health on the Priest of the Moon. He doesn't have it. He loses the Priest of the Moon. But now Eshan really getting in the teeth of this army. Level 6 TC doing work. These big stomps. Bloodlust attack move. Nice fight from Eshan. This was a really important fight from him, for him to feed this, to win this skirmish. And here's the undead just kind of sitting and waiting. Oh, loses some bats here. Yeah, good fight from Eshan. Obviously lost his Blade Master, which sucks, but his heroes are getting the hero levels. And, you know, in free-for-all, the best heroes in the game are Orc. Human and undead heroes are amazing. You know, everyone's hero combo is really good. Elf, especially Trunks combo, is very good. But Orc is the best. And reason being is you have that essentially a perma-stun, a disable lock between level 3 Hex and level 3 Stomp. So if you're good at using your heroes and managing that, now obviously, you know, they can dispel Hex. But But that combo of Hex and Stomp can in theory really kill any hero or any unit if it's rotated properly. And then you add in, Status Trap, obviously, and Spirit Link. And the pure DPS and utility of these heroes are just so good. Now, when the heroes are level 4 and level 5, and these heroes are level 6 or level 7, then yeah, the Orc is going to lose their heroes so many times. It's going to be so expensive. And that kind of seemed like the direction that it was heading in for Eshan. He was falling behind on hero levels. But that one fight versus Trunks there was really, really important for his stability going forward in this game. Interesting army from Sheik here. So he has the Fiend base with an A-bomb and a worm and a destroyer, and then he has a group of gargoyles. So he'll use the group of gargoyles as necessary, and he'll combine them with Frost Nova and Carrion Swarm, and then he'll stone form them, against incoming bats. And then the rest of Wyvern can kind of play that game where they can dance in and out and catch units in a web. So it's pretty cool army composition. If Eshan was 100 food, which he's getting there, 100 food Orc should wreck this undead army. It does look good right now, but at 100 food, buffed, right, pre-buffs Bloodlust and Spirit Link on his Wyvern and his heroes, he can rush in, throw a stomp, focus things with his Wyvern, or his Wind Riders as they're called now, and kind of dance in and out. With Spirit Link, Healing Ward, and Healing Wave, the Wind Riders are not as, paper-like against the gargoyles. They can withstand some attacks from the gargoyles and kind of dance in and out in their own regard. So I wouldn't be super surprised if Eshan comes out and beats this undead army here in a fight, despite Sheik's superior micro. This is major over teaming. And so it begins. And I have the lowest levels. So he's kind of putting out the feelers like, hey, you guys are attacking me too much. You're giving too much attention to me. And then look, it worked. Sheik was going to continue on Eshan, but Eshan effectively manipulated him to stop attacking him. At least for now, right? Which maybe would have saved, some gold from Eshan from having to fight and losing some towers. Orc has the worst base race heroes versus this and that. Which I don't agree with. But he's saying these things again to make his position seem stronger, and it worked. He got Sheik to attack Trunks now instead. Now here's the thing: is like these guys have so much gold, like they can manip and stuff all they want, but like they're gonna keep fighting each other, right, until the gold is low. Like there's no way with the magnitude of this game being a final, and the level of skill and experience that these guys have, there's no way that one guy is just gonna like, if you're inexperienced, you think, oh my god, I have 34,000 gold, like I'm gonna win this game, right? But it's not gonna be like that. They're all gonna fight each other. All the gold's gonna be low. Someone's not just gonna clean up and win with 20k, 25k gold. So some of this is just kind of meaningless. Like we can kind of just fast forward till towards the end. And that's what I'm going to start to do more so. I want to see, the fights and the skirmishes, and I want to take some time to explain maybe their mindset at certain times, and hopefully that's, helpful or insightful. But yeah, we're going to fast forward a little bit more to the next fight here. Have my trigger on the pause here. Eshan, you have 10k only? Less now. I got 19k. Alright, so guys never tell the truth, right? And so it's funny, it's interesting to me how much gold that they say they have compared to how much gold that they have. And sometimes there's a tell, right? I play poker. And if you guys know poker, there's tells. Certain ways, maybe their betting structure, how they play certain hands in certain positions. So how do these players play their hands with gold? So Eshan says that he has less than 10K and he has 34K. All right. Sheik says that he has 19K and he has 42K. So about half his real gold, less than 3.5 times his real gold with the less than 10K mark. And I don't think Trunks mentioned how much gold he has unless I missed it. Maybe it's hard for you to believe because you still have 30K. Sheik wins FAs by being nice, but Trunks really over-focused me each time. Damn it, I missed the Infernal there. Yeah, so Sheik has gotten the best of it, right? Like, he has 10K more gold. All right, this is going to be... So here's back to Trunks' army, right? Like, again, this army is so good. It's hard to face. And with Undead, the best way to face it is to have enough gargoyles to fight the hippogriffs, like 2 groups of gargoyles, and have some destroyers to devour Cyclone, and then throw the nukes out, try to sleep the Demon Hunter. Those are all really good things to do. But his army is based on with fiends, and it's a little bit weird, so let's see how this goes here. Wait, I will come out. Don't hit base. These guys. And again, I promise you guys that, if you're interested in free-for-all and this seems strange to you, the games are not always like this. And it's worth repeating. It's just the magnitude of this being a final, the fact that it's a 3-way and it's a big map. Like, these guys want to win at all costs. So if that means being diplomatic as much as possible, that's what they're going to do. Alright. Nice Infernal drop. Gargoyles are going down. I don't love the fight for the Undead. It just doesn't make sense to fight them head on. You see the Gargoyles got wrecked. Just as I expected, it looks like the Undead is getting owned right here. Oh yeah. He does save the Dreadlord, but he has to use the Scroll of Restoration. Oh, that feels so bad. Just to save the Dreadlord, he had to use it. So, just like I said, guys, he needed Preps of Health, Invulnerability Potion. God, it feels bad to have to use that Scroll of Restoration when you're TPing to save your Dreadlord. But again, that weird army composition was ineffective against Trunks. If this fight against Trunks that Eshan had was a pivotal point for him to gain levels and do well after losing in fights. Oh, he lost the Blade Master. Lost the Blade Master, not win-walked. Even if he didn't even see it, you would have killed it. That's pretty funny, pretty epic fail. But what I'm getting at is if Eshan had a great moment here where he got the hero levels he needed against Trunks, this was Sheik's first real mistake probably. Like this, he had been playing so well, but he took a bad fight here, used the Scroll of Restoration. He didn't move his gargoyles. He kind of fought it head on, maybe unfamiliar with how best to approach the fight against Trunks' style army. And it's fine. I mean, hey, he's got 40,000 gold, but it sucks to have to use that scroll. He fed a lot of experience to Trunks. Now Trunks heroes are getting massive. They're going to be really hard to kill outside of just the Priest of the Moon, which, Trunks typically saves this staff on his Naga for the Priest of the Moon. He uses this staff for his Demon Hunter. All right, so one thing I also want to note is you guys will see that there's Zeppelins are on the map, right? There's a Zeppelin with a peon that just started moving after I clicked it, and Zeppelin here with an excuse me, is that peon? Yeah, peon. Trunks Zeppelin with an acolyte over a wisp, I guess, because you can summon a Necropolis without having to use your worker. And a Zeppelin with an acolyte from Sheik. Sorry, it's getting confusing here. So all 3 players have Zeppelins, and the reason why is because ultimately the game will most likely go into It's called a base race. And that's when, you know, they're going to continue to weaken each other. You guys have seen this. They've been fighting each other. Slowly but surely, they're weakening each other. Bases will get weaker. Gold's count will be spent. And then, hopefully, maybe it'll go into a base race where, you know, they're just trying to basically eliminate each other's buildings at the end, right? To win the game at the very end. So scouting will be key. You know, hero skirmishes will be key. And the Zeppelins basically allow you to escape your main base and rebuild, you know, easily.
A player's forces are under attack.
So what is some of this manip that they're saying here? They're calling each other's tech. You got Orb and Wells.
A town is under siege.
I'm not winning fights versus Trunks. Go one more.
A player's forces are under attack.
Alright, so already it looks like a better fight from the Undead here. Has his anti-magic shield ready. Mountain Giant up front. Oh, he's gonna get all these hippogriffs too. Trunks is TPing out without the hippogriffs. Sheik is trying to get them in before he notices. Wow. Okay, so I'll say that this was the bad fight from Trunks. He kind of fed the Undead here. And nice to see from Sheik. Gets all but one hippogriff. He's got to feel good about that after a bad fight beforehand. Takes a good fight. Wins a good amount of experience. Alright. Up the speed a little bit here again.
A town is under siege.
Yeah, the Lumi is asking why Eshan would buy the Elf Orb. That's what I said as well. Yeah, Corruption or Lightning. Yep, these guys are in agreement. So again, the chat here, you know, it's kind of not a stalemate, but they're all just kind of sitting passively. They want to fight, but they don't want to overly fight, you know? So they're constantly, you know, talking and chatting and trying to, you know, warp the perception of each player, you know, in their own heads and their views of other players. So it's always a bit of a mind game, kind of a meta game of through chat as well on a three-way here in free-for-all. Oh, gets the first Starfall. What a nice Starfall right here. So he uses Fairy Dragons. I haven't really seen Trunks use Fairy Dragons. Pretty interesting there. So he's got anti-magic shield on the Priest of the Moon with the Starfall. Finally got the Hex out. Orc has lost a lot. But you know what? He's actually doing okay. He's killed some things with his Wyvern. The heroes are doing work. He's going to start to lose these Wyvern out to the Hippogriff Rider focus. You can see the amount of DPS that comes from the Elf army is just insane. As I've been saying, so hard to fight. Blade Master's going to go down. Yep. So tough to fight there. Just got decimated there. 70 food, 32 food. So now Eshan is almost certainly not going to create an army right now. He's got a base to defend and to back up into, right? He loses his main base, so be it. He's got a main tree of Eternity, another stronghold. Now, instead of making an army, that's the first thing you think to do, right? Holy shit, I have to make units, I have to scramble, I have to defend this. He really doesn't, right? Because he has all these towers back here, and he knows that the Undead player had a shade in this fight, and that he's gonna come and help him. You know, the Undead is incentivized to help Trunks now. Now, maybe in reality, he's not. Maybe if the Undead had a little bit better game awareness, he would just let Trunks continue on Eshan, right? But he is going to be worried about Trunks. He has lost fights versus Trunks. So the natural inclination is to help somebody in a three-way when they're getting tomed, as we say, right? Treated like a tome of experience. But Eshan is fine. Wow, some chims. Interesting. So I actually like the chims from Eshan. I mean, he's got to get 3/3 upgrades, which he is. Chims are good in general. Obviously, with Bloodlust and Spirit Link, they're going to be awesome. And Endurance Aura, which is, you know, let's not underrate how good that is. Chims are also good in a base race situation. So if it comes down to it and he hides some chimeras, you know, on the edges of the map, that may come into play later. So I missed a little bit of what they were saying there. I think they're just, again, talking about their gold and underestimating everyone's gold.
A player's forces are under attack.
Now he's telling Trunks that he can win against either of us one-on-one. A little form of manipulation again. Eshan says, we all know Elf is the best FA race, Orc is the weakest.
Player's forces are under attack.
God, that Am Starfall is so cool. It's so fun. It's just so fun to use Starfall and to not have it be disabled. You know, whether you have anti-magic shield or you take out their hero that can disable you before using it or whatever else. So much fun to see Starfall. And of course, that's like the first like ultimate skill that probably most of us were like so impressed by. You know, you first start playing Warcraft. Oh my God, level 6 Priest of the Moon. And we get to see a lot of Starfalls with Trunks. Instant dispel, but you see that? The Cyclone Trunks hero instantly dispelled it. Oh, another Starfall and Starfall. Infernal has been used. Did he dispel it? I don't. Oh, he dispelled it with the Dryad. Very nice. So both these players are using a really quick Dryad dispel there. He dispelled the anti-magic shield potion to be able to sleep him. Which makes sense, and the Dryad is going to be certainly quicker than a Destroyer to dispel. So really smart move there from the Undead. Yeah, 4-hour game. It looks like it's a 4-hour game. I will keep fast forwarding though here, guys. I think we made pretty good time so far on this game.
Player's forces are under attack.
Oh, Eshan with the chims. So Trunks has 88 food. Eshan 98. The Chimera is interesting. Oh, and the Hippogriff's doing work. So Eshan truly with the Elf army here. Bloodlusted chims and Hippogriffs. You know what he's missing is Spirit Link. Spirit Link on the Hippogriffs would have been awesome. But still, good job from Eshan there. Pretty cool army composition. Got the Kodo to back it up. Bloodlusted Chims with Kodo. Endurance Aura. And Roar, right? Does he have Roar also? Not sure. I guess he didn't make a bear for Roar. Maybe just too many things to micro.
A player's forces are under attack.
Look at these guys, all caps. Calling each other crybabies and manippers. Okay, Eshan says he's at 2175 gold. Oh, pretty cool lie. He just took out the 0 out of his gold count. Alright, 10 times the gold. Sheik said he's at, what did you say he's at? 7k or 9k? I just missed it. He's at 28k. Trunks at 18.
A player's forces are under attack.
Yeah, Sheik is 10k ahead of the other players, and he has been consistently 10k ahead of the other players. Oh, bad positioning for the undead here. He cannot fight here. Dreadlord goes down in seconds. Preemptive health, man. Get a preemptive health. My inclination is definitely holding true. The fact that he keeps losing this Dreadlord. And I know this from experience of fighting Trunks and losing my Dreadlord. But yeah, really bad spot there. The Fiends weren't able to kind of branch out and web things behind the trees. They were on a choke point. You know, it's easier to say from an observer standpoint, of course, and to criticize or, you know, make advices or whatnot, make observations. When you're in the game, it's different. But you definitely want, you know, sometimes it's worth it to just spend the 350 gold on a TP and not lose 15 food, lose your hero, you know, etc. And you got to make these decisions quick against Trunks. While that Dreadlord at 1x speed died, looks like you had the game at 4x speed. Yeah, certainly, man. The DPS is insane. And you see that now the heroes are also insane, right? Level 10 Demon Hunter. And in his ultimate form, of course, he's even stronger. Plus the Orb of Corruption. So he basically has... I love the Orb of Corruption on the Demon Hunter. It's so cool. He basically has like a Lich, right? It's like Undead. A Lich with an Orb. He has a Demon Hunter with an Orb. And Hippogriff Riders with level 3 True Shot Aura and Roar. So the DPS is just unbelievable. Oh, and Fairy Fire. Yep. -7 armor. It's just awesome. Yeah, Sheik has any tech. He should make a bear for Roar. He did have a bear in his earlier army compositions. I think he lost. No, he didn't. There it is. He had a bear earlier. He doesn't have one. Oh, he has one right here. All right. Well, there it is. Plus the 2 mountain giants. Such a cool army composition. Still a little bit weird. But you know what? It's saving him gold because, as I was mentioning before, and I got off the point a little bit, that gargoyles are one of the most cost inefficient units in the game. They're very expensive. So when you have an 80 food, 100 food army of gargoyles, that's a ton of gold, right? Like, I mean, 12 gargoyles is like over 2,000 gold. So 2 groups of gargoyles is like 4k, right? It's a lot of gold. Whereas a fiend, in comparison, is relatively the same gold as one gargoyle, right? The fiend is what, 215 gold. Gargoyle is like 175. So they're about the same. So, you know, if you can get effectiveness out of a ground undead army, you know, without losing massive gargoyles to bats or hippogriffs or Starfall or Forked Lightning, right? So it does make sense to use fiends if you can, and I think it has helped him preserve his gold. You know, he does have 10k gold more than other players, maybe because of this reason. Yeah, but gargoyles are more mobile. For sure. And gargoyles are arguably the better unit in free-for-alls in this case. But late game, maybe he can go gargoyles, and he's doing well with this ground army. I would have been playing gargoyles earlier than this, and maybe I would have been more effective in certain ways than he was as well. But Sheik has been playing really, really good with this ground army, so you got to give credit to him. I love the 3 mountain giants. Like, how sick is that? He's got mountain giant. He's got anti-magic shield on his mountain giants. 3/3 upgrades with roar. Pretty fucking cool. Here's the army, guys. 100 food versus 100 food. Huge hero levels. This is what free for all is all about. Let's see how this fight goes. Starfall comes in, anti-magic shield, forced to retreat with the mountain giants. Quick dispel again. Wow, really impressive from the undead player. Dreadlord, Dreadlord, Dreadlord going down. Dreadlord going down again. I'm not gonna keep repeating myself, guys, but the undead is playing so well. Get some items to protect your damn Dreadlord. Really nice fight from the undead. If he just didn't lose his down Dreadlord, just a beautiful fight. He beat Trunks there in a straight up fight. 100 food versus 100 food. Really, really nice job. Those mountain giants, anti-magic shield, enough fiends. He just has to protect his damn Dreadlord. Really well played. Yeah, in this case, I wouldn't make any circlets on the Dreadlord. It would be all preps. And even though that makes Coil a little bit less effective, the hero levels are big. And then here's a big thing that hasn't really been used yet, is that there's a mana fountain on this map. So, I mean, maybe one circlet and preps and invuln pop. Maybe all preps and invuln pop. But either way, all these Dreadlord hero losses are just killing them. And, you know, especially with the ground army, right? Like, Carrion Swarm is good, but he's mainly using Dreadlord for Infernal and Sleep at this point. So if he's not spamming a bunch of Carrion Swarm, I mean, there's just multiple reasons why he needs to have better items on his Dreadlord. So check out Eshan's army. I really like this. This is pretty cool. He's basically got an elf army, right? He's got Chims and Hippogriffs and Druid of the Talon, Bloodlusted, Spirit Linked, right? With Orc Heroes and Orc Casters. That's a sick army. This is really, really good army. I really like it. You know, a big investment to get the army, but it is a good army, and I like the composition. Yeah, Circlet gives you greater mana pool. Yeah, for sure. That's the trade-off, but if you're going to lose your Dreadlord versus Trunks every time you face them, who cares about the additional mana pool? This is a hard army to fight for the undead. Death Knight goes down. Wow. Dominant army here. Elf versus undead. And hey, this goes to our point about fiends versus gargoyles, right? Fiends are effective, but they're effective until they're not. And again, I've said this, it's worth reinstating that if there's too many air units, fiends are no longer effective. And in this case, there's 12, 14, you know, Hippogriff dots. There's 6, 7 Chims. So there's 20 air units, and there was 7 fiends. So what ends up happening is some air units get webbed, and then the other air units do not. And then the fiends are confused. You don't know who to target. It's really hard to fight. So if you're gonna play fiends, you need to have enough fiends and be prepared. Anti-magic shield, 100 food army, scrolls, boom, and then it could be really good. But if you're playing like kind of in between, you don't have that max amount of fiends, it's better to have no fiends, right? He would have done so much better with this army if he had pure Gargs and some destroyers. So it's always a bit of a balancing process. And if you choose to play undead ground, you know, you can be punished for it. And this was a prime example. Now, obviously, having to face Bloodlusted Elf Army with Spirit Link, 100 food, like level 3 Endurance Aura, it's going to be a tough ask no matter what. But I think that, you know, despite Sheik playing so well in a lot of these fights in a lot of ways, you know, he has made some mistakes with his army composition. And I think the biggest glaring mistake is not keeping his Dreadlord alive with preps. Has everyone blood castled because of the new item? Yeah, so the term blood castle you're referring to, if people don't know, is you know, you get tier 3 of another race. And yes and no. Trunks did it because of the other item. Yep, Eshan did it because of the other item as well. You're right. Sheik actually used a possession, I believe. I guess it could have been that scepter, that item. I think he used a banshee. You know what could be happening is Sheik is doing it on purpose to make himself look weak. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I don't think so. Just the way that his playstyle is. Maybe it actually works out in his favor. But I don't really think that would be in his strategy. That would be more so in like an Eshan type strategy. Oh, big stomp. Death Knight's not back. Sleep on the TC. Wow. Look at this Shadowhunter ultimate, allowing the Hippogriffs to wreck their gargoyles. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Sheik should be getting back. Like, he shouldn't be fighting in this spot. He should be getting back here, you know, before his Death Knight comes out. Nice work from Eshan. He's really getting the hero levels that he needs now to win the game. You know, through the army composition, through some of the fights that he's chosen, you know, through this fight early versus Trunks. Eshan's holding his own. He's playing well. Oh, nice. That Hex Stomp again. So brutal. So brutal with these Chims that are bloodlusted with Endurance Aura. But yeah, Sheik making some mistakes certainly in the end here, from what seemed like the best position to, I would argue that he's in the worst position in the game now. You know, over the course of the last half an hour. Yeah, no, I'm aware he's a pro solo player, and he has adapted to free for all pretty well, but the army compositions and the hero builds and stuff like that, base builds, they're just different in free-for-all. And, you know, we see it time and time again. The best free-for-all players beat the best solo players in free-for-all. And it's always been that way, you know, outside of some times when, you know, certain, obviously their micro makes them win or win a certain skirmish. But it's the solo players that convert to free-for-all and understand the game type, you know, and that play a lot, you know, that are really, really tough to deal with. But, you know, it's not surprising to me to see Sheik doing super well, like against Trunks and against Eshan in these fights with Ground Army, like really impressive play by Sheik. But then also, you know, on the flip side, making mistakes, building his heroes and fighting here and army composition. So it is pretty, that's pretty typical, I think, from, you know, like a pro solo player that plays free-for-all for a short while. All right, so Trunks 15k. Trunks feels pretty much that his army is going to be unbeatable soon because the undead is getting weaker. The undead is food blocked. Can't fight this. And from Sheik, it just feels bad now, right? Like, He had so much gold. He's got to feel like he wasted his opportunity a little bit. He might be tilted a little bit after what happened with Eshan. Sorry guys, I alt-tabbed for a second here. So I wonder if Eshan and Trunks both feel that they could win a one-on-one versus each other at this point. Maybe they... Oh, Chims go down. Look how fast they go down. They went down like as fast as if they were illusions. My main dies now. 1k gold. Help faster, GG. So we'll see if Sheik listens to that. Eshan saying that he's broke. Trunks counter manips by saying that Eshan is 100 food, which is fine. Yeah, I don't know. Eshan is finding the right spot. But you see these towers, they're just, you know, they're allowing him to turtle a little bit, of course. Bloodlusted Hippogriffs with Spirit Link. Well, not anymore. Now Eshan popped his ultimate. And you know, the Shadow Hunter ultimate cancels all spells, all buffs, and all debuffs, right? So the ultimate cancels Bloodlust and Spirit Link. It also cancels, you know, opposing Fairy Fire or Curse. So it's always a decision to use the SH ultimate because it's going to cancel your buffs, good and bad. But in this case, again, he used it pretty well, and I'll give Eshan credit, he's using this ultimate well. He used it at a time when he had an advantage in the fight. Trunks really couldn't do anything about it, you know, kind of had a TP out. So nice work by Eshan there. He's really, this composition change to Elf, I think has been really effective. And instead of having to use bats, right, which you're going to explode and cost money, he has hippogriffs. And hippogriffs are better than bats, right? They just are. They're like the best anti-air unit in the game. You don't have to sacrifice them or suicide them, right, to kill air units. So in theory, if you can keep them alive with Healing Ward and Healing Wave and Spirit Link, right, and obviously Bloodlust on the Chims and the hippogriffs, Endurance Aura again, I keep saying, but it's super important. Now his army can sustain, and he doesn't have to spend, you know, 1,000, 2,000 gold every fight, you know, to use bats and rebuild units. He can sustain his army. So, you know, the first move against Qwest, excuse me, was really good for Eshan. I think that was calculated, and you know, he wanted this three-way game, and he wouldn't be surrounded, and that was the first really smart move by the Orc player. And I think the second really beneficial move that's paid off is him teching Elf and making this Elf army, you know, to go along with the Orc supporting units. Well played by Eshan in those regards. Now, tanks are slow, man. They're 4 food now. I mean, yes, you're right. I would say when they're 3 food, I probably would have said that. They give a ton of experience. They're slow. They're 4 food. You know, like if he had tank, I would rather have hippogriffs than tanks, for sure. Obviously, an orc army. Yeah, this is like just a sick army composition. I mean, this is probably the best army composition in the game. right? Chims and hippos with dots, and then orc support, Kodo and casters, and orc heroes. It's probably the best army you can have, the composition. You know, maybe like an orc ground would be really good, but in theory. Alright, loses a couple chims on the way out. Smart TP. So the undead, is he hiding an army? I guess he's not really hiding it. But again, such a weird army from the undead. Like, it's just not that efficient. He has gargoyles and fiends. Trunks army pretty standard. He's starting to get low on gold. Eshan definitely has the most gold now, and he's a little bit under-repped. I mean, they are kind of teaming him together now, so he is getting the attention that I think is warranted. So we'll see what happens here.
A player's forces are under attack.
So how do you deal with this? So does Eshan start chapping here? Yep. Sheik, remember this moment later, okay? Look at this manip, so effective. He's saying, please remember this, please remember this. And now Sheik is getting manip. Now he's thinking, oh, well, should I not go into the base with Trunks? Should I not weaken the orc player? Remember when you teamed a guy with 600 gold? Eshan has 15,600 gold. So, I mean, listen, guys. Eshan gets a lot of hate from people. And, I mean, his playstyle is really annoying to play against. You know. But he's smart. And, you know, he knows how to win these games. And, you know, saying that you have 600 gold when you have 15,600... and he's been telling the same story, like his gold count has been decreasing, you know, as the story tells. It's smart, and you know, it's really tough to think, hey, maybe he doesn't have 600, maybe he has 4,000 gold, right? Maybe he has 6,000 gold, but no, he has 15,000 gold. So, you know, he's doing the right thing, even though his playstyle can be frustrating to play against. Now, if it's not an FML final, if it's a ladder game, etc., you know, I would be more upset with this playstyle. But it is what it is. Nice. Wow. Wow. Big crit. 368. Amazing. Alright. This is Eshan's game to lose at this point, guys. Really well done. So he got teamed here 2-on-1, right? So what's the way to deal with it? He chatted to manip Sheik to get him to go away. And then he chose to kind of chase Sheik out of his base to separate the two people teaming him. And he was able to get Sheik to TP here. Then he TP'd back against Trunks in a nice position to stomp what was a low HP Demon Hunter when the towers did their work. Killed the Demon Hunter. And then he killed the Priest of the Moon also, or was it the Naga? Did he tavern back the Naga? Tavern back the Priest of the Moon. Ah, man. That's like 1,000 gold. 1,100 gold. So again, you know, Eshan playing well. Not sure where he's going with his heroes. Oh, bad staff. That sucks. So, something that Trunks isn't used to, I'm sure. But when you make a new main and a new tier 3, your staff is going to go to the nearest tier 3. Right? So instead of going to here and being able to get the moon wells, it's staffed to the Black Citadel.
Player's forces
Sucks for
are under attack.
Trunks.
A town is under
Yeah,
siege.
bad idea for him to tavern res the Priest of the Moon, because it makes it look like you have so much gold, and he shouldn't have done it anyways, you know. And this is something that like a more experienced, I mean, even though Trunks is experienced, he's a bit of a one-trick pony. So, you know, he should have known that with the wells and towers, like, he could hold without his Priest of the Moon and just let it revive, right? He's not going to be eliminated by the time it revives in the tavern, just like he's doing now. Instead, he spent the gold, and he made it look like he's wealthy, because if you didn't have 20k gold, you shouldn't have done that. So, you know, and then Eshan was smart enough to point that out, that he tavern resed it. So, again, all things going nicely for Eshan. Now, from Sheik's perspective, you know what? All of a sudden, he's got 13k gold and 100 food. And Eshan has 13k gold and 75 food. Now, I do think that they probably are starting to believe Eshan that he doesn't have much gold. And maybe they think Trunks has more gold than he has. So it is an interesting position as far as the perceptions of each player. Oh, he taverned both of them. Wow. Eshan, the master of the triple race. Yeah, he's certainly playing well.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
So Trunks with the Dryad army. It's a good unit composition switch against this Chippo army. Obviously, Dryads are magic immune against Chimeras, and they can't get stomped. So again, Eshan choosing not to defend, but to go attack the undead instead. Oh, Death and Decay. Fucking teamer, never team Trunks, but teams me. Oh, nice. Nice kill there. That was a big kill. Oh, no TP on Sheik. Feels bad, man, he says. Oh, Blade Master goes down. Yeah, Dryads are fine. They're just weak at the end of the game. So look, guys, it's interesting that, you know, all these guys had 50, 60,000 gold. Trunks has 6,000. Sheik 11. Eshan 11. But seemingly 0, right? Another Tauren totem. Interesting. So now the strategy from the orc standpoint, you know, he's got to think, well, am I going to continue to build army? Or am I going to use my gold and play the long game, right? To potentially play like a base race scenario.
A player's forces are under attack.
And I think it's got to be the second option. You know, oftentimes I've made the mistake in FML games. And, you know, granted, I've never like really, I guess when I was younger, I kind of adapted that style where I would really try like so hard to win and at all cost, you know, which is fine. But now that I'm like older and it just doesn't matter as much to me, I guess. Like I enjoy like fighting and stuff. It's just a different play style. So I would probably like just create an army and just try to will it down. But, you know, so be it. I think the style probably of waiting and being patient and hiding some units and stuff is the better option for Eshan, especially because he's set it up so nicely by basically telling the same story. Again, back to the poker analogy, you know, he's told the same story on all three streets, right? So, you know, his bluff, so to speak, makes sense if you're thinking about it. So it makes sense that he doesn't have any gold right now. I mean, at least his story makes sense. I'm not sure if these players see that or not, you know, but it makes sense. Now, his heroes are also awesome. They're almost triple 10. And as I mentioned earlier in the game, Orc heroes are the best in the game. So he's confident now. He's confident to fight either player. He can fight Sheik or Trunks and win, right? At least in these small skirmishes, you know, how the army counts are. So I think we'll see if he tries to... I mean, he's probably going to still keep playing the three-way, try to reduce the power of everybody. But he's certainly in a good spot, I think, to win this game. Oh, wow. How did he lose the Demon Hunter there? No staff on the Demon Hunter? Must have been the Purge Orb. Okay, EP mentioned that he stomped the Naga and the Priest of the Moon, who had the staffs on the heroes. He stomped them before they could use the staff on the Demon Hunter. So nice micro there from Eshan.
A player's forces are under attack.
You start with workers of all races now? No, you certainly don't. There's an item though, a new item. I forget what it's called. It's called a scepter of something, and basically it's a consumable item that has a charge on it, and it allows you to charm a unit, like, you know, Dark Ranger ultimate charm. So these players either bought or found that item and then charmed a unit from the other race. It's got to feel so good for Eshan to be able to kill these heroes and have triple 10 heroes. You know, facing Trunks and Sheik is no small task. So it's certainly got to feel good to have the power level on his heroes now to do that. TP to his... He double-clicked TP'd there, which sent him to his stronghold. Has to use the Zeppelin to get out. Yeah, I mean, the charm item doesn't always it doesn't always play a big role, but in this specific game, because there was a three-way instantly and there's so many gold mines, you know, it did. Oftentimes it doesn't make sense. It's not cost efficient to take another race. Oh, big kill there. So, hey, I mean, this isn't a free win for Eshan, right? Like, Eshan's manip is maybe working, but at the same time, maybe it's not. I mean, Trunks is really being aggressive towards him. And now, look, he's food blocked, guys. And he can't get his hero back. So, he does have the gold, right? He has the hidden gold that maybe these other players don't know about. But he's losing his base. And, you know, he's starting to panic a little bit in the chat. You know, he can't revive his heroes yet. He's gonna have to rebuild, you know, halls and burrows and stuff. And Trunks is seemingly being pretty relentless on Eshan. And Eshan is, you know, he's crying pretty hard in the chat, but understandably he's frustrated right now. But saving grace for Eshan. Oh, that wasn't good. Saving grace for Eshan. Undead player came in and Death and Decayed Trunks' main, loses his main. So, like, I don't know. bad move by Sheik, right? Trunks was eliminating Eshan. And if I'm Sheik, even though Trunks has 10 heroes, his base is weak. He just has Dryads. You got to feel confident against Trunks with the 100 food army with gargoyles, right? If you're Sheik. Not so confident against Orc and Hero Arena. So if Eshan is already being eliminated, you know, Sheik has 8k gold. He's got to think that he probably has more gold than Trunks, which he does. Why help Eshan, right? I think the better move would be to let Trunks continue to try to eliminate Eshan. And Eshan was already, like, attacking you and killing your heroes and shit. So, like, and you should do the same thing, right? Like, you should see this and you should destroy this. And I think this might be Sheik's critical mistake, that he should continue to try to eliminate Eshan because his chance against Trunks with that golden army is good. And again, it's always easier to see this, obviously, from the observer standpoint. So, you know, I'm not trying to just sit here and criticize people, but just give, you know, observation of how they could potentially play better. And, you know, obviously I try to give credit on, you know, things that I'm impressed by and things like that as well. But yeah, so look at this. Now look at this. Freaking the undead went to help the orc, and now Trunks retaliated and is taking out his main. And the attention's off from Eshan, and then you know what? Eshan still attacks the undead either way. So it certainly looks like the wrong move to attack Trunks there from Sheik, rather than letting Eshan hold the attention.
A player's forces are under attack.
Staff on cooldown. Must be on cooldown. Oh, pretty smart. Slowing the Lich there, preventing the next Nova. So Eshan has full army too. And you know, you can see Eshan's army is kind of spread around. 2 Chims here. 3 Wind Riders here. Multiple Zeppelins. He's got a peon chopping here. So Eshan is fully getting ready for this base race. And this is so much to his advantage because, you know, frankly, Trunks is not that smart of a FFA player. Like I said, he's amazing at strategy in his micro. It's incredible. But he's pretty one-dimensional. He's pretty easy to play against, you know, if you're not getting rushed. And Sheik also, you know, relatively inexperienced, especially compared to Eshan. So Eshan is just loving this situation. He can do a base race. They're fighting each other. He doesn't have to worry about having Qwest in his game to try to outwit him, you know, out-manip him. So I think this looks great for Eshan. You know, it looked really good for Sheik too, but by hitting Trunks, now the attention's on the undead player, which is not good for him. He said, "Let's peace, Trunks." He wants to kill Eshan. Maybe a little too late.
Forces are under attack.
So, like, this hasn't been pointed out yet, right? You'd think that Trunks would be sending more owls. I haven't seen many owls from Trunks. Oh, here it is. And Trunks is normally, to his credit, really, really good at using owls. Like, the best. It's always on your army. But the owl, this Tree of Life, a shade, they haven't seen this, I don't think. And if they've seen it, they haven't said anything about it, unless I missed it in chat. But this is telling right here, right? You lose your Blade Master, and then you have to build multiple burrows to get him back. That means that there's a hidden army, right? And, you know, again, he's smart with it. Worm here, Wind Riders here, up here. And I would think that if they call out Eshan and they figure this out, that they would start the attention back on him. We'll see. Yeah, so Trunks' army just it's not as scary anymore, right? Without the Hippogriff Riders. Like, even though his heroes are so good, I mean, they're just Dryads, so... BM escapes. Look at this, attention being traded between Trunks and Sheik. And Nightwing just happily killing whatever he can. 5 Hippo Riders for Trunks. Not sure why he's saving them. Stop now, Eshan. Bro, how can we know if you're broke if you still have all builds? If you're broke, then let us kill production. Nice Death Knight kill there. Yeah, so it's Eshan is prepared for this late game. And we'll see. I mean, if Sheik and Trunks don't piece, they don't stop at some point. You know, I think just Trunks really doesn't know what to do in this position, and Sheik made the wrong moves too. So I noted it at the beginning of the game, but I said that, you know, it's kind of brains versus brawn. So if it got to be the end game and either Qwest or Eshan was in a good position, that, you know, they would probably win against these players because he's gonna outplay them, you know, as far as decision making and an understanding of, you know, players' positions, like truthfully, things like that. Even if he loses, you know, in fights, which he did, and Eshan did lose in fights with both players for some time, but then he had a couple really good fights that allowed him to get the levels in the position to be dominant, and it's really worked out perfectly for Eshan, and he certainly played the best in this game. Yeah, Orb of Corruption on a Blade Master is pretty sick too.
A player's forces are under attack.
And that Poison Orb, I guess, in Hero Arena it's good. I didn't like it before, but the triple orb is pretty nice. A ton of damage, obviously. Sheik, let's hit Eshan now. Okay, let's see if they do that. And he makes UD base.
A town is under siege.
Oh, Demon Hunter down. Oh, Blade Master down from the Nova. Like it. So look at this. Help Eshan, Trunks Peach, help. So like the Undead just backstabbed. He must feel like he's in a good position, but he's just not. I mean, he's in a fine position, I guess. Shadow Hunter will TP. Or just get away. Yep, Eshan just patiently waiting. He's mined out this area. He can build a burrow here, if need be. And this is hard to scout. Like, I mean, I guess it's not really hard to scout. but you have to be actively scouting the edges of the map. So like for Trunks, he should be singing out here and then like just rally pointing, shifting. He could see all these units, and then she could do the same probably with a gargoyle. And if they can call out that Eshan has these hidden armies, neither of them can beat Ishan's heroes, right? If it comes down to hero arena 1-on-1, you're not going to beat the orc, the 10-10-10 orc. Even Trunks. I mean, maybe Trunks to a certain extent, but even Trunks, and it's because of the Priest of the Moon. So they cannot fight him 1-on-1. So if they know that he has an army as well, they're going to want to stop fighting with each other. But this experience counts so much in these games.
Forces are under attack.
It's funny, these 3 mountain giants have like never died, with resistant skin. But they're kind of useless. Oh, look, they're going against Sheik again. Zero destroyers. Yeah, because he's had dryads. Look, and Eshan is loving this. He just loves that they're teaming the undead right now. Some of Eshan's army got revealed. Oh, what happened there? He lost his Shadow Hunter. I'm not sure how that happened. I missed it, guys. I'm sorry. Trunks must have saw him with an owl and came down here. Ah, damn it. I just did it again. Oh, Demon Hunter goes down. So close. That had to be like a millisecond. How did he lose that? I guess well, here you go with the stun golem, right? I talked about having the stun golem for late would be such a big difference. What a smart move to have that rock golem just waiting for this. Oh, kill the Priest of the Moon. Oh, Blade Master down. This is sick. Pretty cool moves right there, man. Huge moves. Yep, Frostworm's gonna go down. Oh, saves it with the rock golem. He can still kill this Priest of the Moon. I mean, I guess he's only got a TC at this point. Wow, back and forth. Nice moves there. LOL, Trunks won. Eshan still got plenty of gold. His hidden army, somewhat useful, but was exposed. He still has 5 Wyvern and 2 Chims. But most importantly, he has the gold to revive his heroes, right? And again, this is something that Sheik could have scouted and destroyed earlier. And he didn't, which is, really obviously really good for Eshan. But that was pretty wild sequence there. Lose the Shadow Hunter. Lose the Demon Hunter. Lose the Blade Master. All in like moments notice. So Eshan has 1,500 gold. Sheik has 2,000. Trunks has 300. So everyone's pretty much broke. Eshan has the gold to revive his heroes. You see his food count. He's still at almost 100 food. Yeah, Sheik needs another Moonwell, which he can make. So chose not to use this altar, which I guess makes sense.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
Good amount of hippogriffs there. Where's that other altar at? Sorry, I just missed it. Here it is. I like this spot here to put the altar. Sometimes it's hard to see, like on the mini map, if you put it right next to a neutral building, right? Like if you're gonna hide a burrow or a moonwell or an altar, sometimes like right next to the merc camp or right next to the goblin lab, or in this case right next to the tavern. Makes sense? Trunks needs Tree of Eternity and Forest. Yeah, Trunks has never been great in these situations, but he's still certainly not out of it, and he's had some great moves against Eshan. He really has, to kill those heroes. Eshan, flaming, sees his chances not as certain. This is just such a high anxiety moments, right, for all these players, especially Eshan. Though Eshan wants this more than anybody, this win. But I mean, these guys are nervous, these guys are anxious, adrenaline is going, right? I mean, this is like, you've been playing this game for 3.5 hours, and you know it's not determined who's going to win at this point. So, you know, they're trying not to make mistakes. They're trying to scout. You know, they're trying to make the best decisions that they can, you know, under pressure. So Eshan with a little flaming there, I think is fine. Red says he likes Sheik's position. I don't love Sheik's position. Just being undead, it's hard to win like this. Magadensky was, I mean, and I guess Qwest were the best at winning in these positions. But it's harder to hide buildings as undead. And also his heroes, I mean, his heroes lose to Trunks or Eshan straight up, right? I mean, Frost Armor, Infernal, etc. is fine, but he has the worst of the hero combos as far as the hero arena goes now at this point, between levels, items, and then just the heroes themselves.
A player's forces are under attack.
Auto camera's kind of cool, I guess. My hand is getting tired. So he's saying, I won't stop. He basically wants Trunks to quit suiciding him. Or what he's saying is suiciding him.
A player's forces are under attack. Player's forces are under attack.
So Trunks is starting to do what he needs to do, like with zeppelins and trees and stuff, but he only has 300 gold, right? He's really not prepared for this league game. You know, where Eshan had some more gold when he did this, which was just smart. And Sheik has some gold. He's in an okay position. I think he's just not really sure what to do. Right? Like, what has Sheik been doing in the last half an hour. He hasn't really been doing anything. He's just been sitting in his base. And I think he's just indecisive. And again, it's easier to see from an observer standpoint, but I would like to see Sheik go and again, weaken the orc, because maybe you can beat Trunks, you know, with your heroes and some army. You're not going to really be able to beat the orc, I don't think so, because of his hero levels, especially if you see that he has some army and he has all these hippogriffs, right? I don't think this has been scouted at all, which is tough to scout. I mean, he's got other units here, so you'd have to scout from this direction pretty much, or directly this way. But, you know, if he has anti-air units and he has triple 10 heroes, like, you're just not going to beat the orc. So I'd like to see Sheik go on the orc a little bit and help Trunks out. You know, Trunks is obviously, like, you know, he wants to focus on Eshan, and he's made that pretty clear, I think. But the undead is indecisive at this time.
A player's forces are under attack. Player's forces are under attack.
Look at this. So smart. Trunks, I can't scout the top. Does purple have hidden army? Yes. 12 Gargs or more. Figured. Okay, we need to team him. Too much air. So, like, that all happened, and then Sheik was like, but Eshan also has army. Why me? And sometimes just being the first person to call out somebody, like, you know, makes a difference. And yeah, like, maybe if Sheik was scouting better, or he said, hey, Sheik has, you know, Eshan has this, worms. Oh, he has worms, wyvern, hippogriffs, whatever. You know, 10-10-10 orc heroes, right? Like, and then Trunks would be like, all right, like, cool, let's go team Eshan. But Trunks didn't notice it. Sheik didn't point it out, you know. But Eshan won't miss that opportunity. He won't miss that opportunity to manip or to point something out that could be in his favor, right? And he did. He pointed it out. He asked. He said he can't scout. Trunks said yes. You know, so it's just smart, and it's well played by Eshan, and you know, a missed opportunity, I think, from Sheik.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
Oh, Dreadlord survives for now. Oh. Yes, peace him, Trunks. Yeah, I get a little bit exhausting how Eshan plays, you know, to play against. So I understand a lot of people's frustration with him, or, you know, if you guys are in Discord chat, you can see Slythe and all the stuff he wrote about Eshan. It's pretty funny, and a lot of it's true. But man, it's got to be exhausting for Eshan to play like that too. You know, I mean, we're going on 4 hours here. Just ruthless manips. But again, smart play. You know, he's doing what he needs to do. He's been playing well all game, so you got to give him credit. Yeah, I would say it's certainly his game to lose now, right? That was a big hit. I mean, for Sheik, look, he has 0 food. And I'm not even sure where the hell his army is. I mean, his army is in Mountain Giants, right? It sucks. Like, does he even have gargoyles? Like, I guess he has gargoyles somewhere right here. Yeah, this is where I can see on the mini map. But, like, he hasn't used them. Gargoyles are going to be all but useless. Not useless, but against a big orc army, they're not going to be useless. Certainly not going to be useless. So, from Eshan's standpoint, you know, he wants to kill one of these undead heroes, because then Sheik is fucked. He's not going to be able to revive his hero. He doesn't have any production buildings whatsoever, and he doesn't have the gold, right, to reproduce. So Eshan wants just Trunks and not to team him, right, just for now, and kill an undead hero. And then once the undead is out, the hero is out, then he just has to worry about Trunks, who probably has less than what he expects, but Trunks, like, he doesn't have anything, right? And yep, Eshan's still, you know, almost 100 food. Stop your manip and understand why I stopped hitting you. Now he's trying to get Sheik to go against Trunks. He's playing these guys like a fiddle, guys. Oh. No invulnerability potion on the Shadow Hunter. Gonna have to TP, I think. Oh, he's got his casters in Zeppelin. That's pretty smart. Yeah, he's still got a big army. Look at this. 3 Wyvern, Frostworm, and 2 Chims. The Frostworm is huge. Enough anti-air. And then he's got his casters in a Zeppelin. So he's got a full army, obviously. But a full army that's going to be effective in all these events. Still hasn't been called out, really. He's trying so hard. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Why are you on me? Why don't you team with me? Why don't you piece me? It's so clear who's winning. It's so clear who's winning. Even though it's clearly Eshan.
Under siege. A player's forces are under attack.
Why you let Eshan free win? Why?
Player's forces are under attack.
He did kill the Wind Riders, I think. Yeah, Sheik is like eliminated, guys.
A town is under siege. Player's forces are under attack.
Sheik, you will lose 100% to that versus Eshan. Well, it's going to be close, guys. It's going to be close. Oh, lost the casters and the Zeppelin. Big mistake. Oh, but let him go. Oh, he TP'd. That's why.
A player's forces are under attack.
Still didn't see this army. Wow, he bought an ice shard.
Under siege.
That's an interesting decision. I don't think ice shard is that good. The Frost Nova is pretty weak on it. But most importantly, he has the invulnerability potion on his SH. Scout bottom left corner. It's like 60 Papa Bear. Alright guys, so let's take a look at this real quick here and then I'll resume the game. It's getting to be that base race that we talked about. So, I mean, the Undead has hardly any buildings. He has two Necropolis. He's got this one and another one somewhere because he has 20 food. And Trunks, you know, Trunks only has this one. So, and I don't think that Trunks, I mean, he must have a Wisp and a Zeppelin, right? Got an Acolyte there, yep. But he doesn't really have the gold, although he can sell items. So yeah, Trunks is able to do base race also. And then Eshan, obviously, he's got Zeppelins with peons everywhere. And also has items. But look, all players are down to almost no buildings. So this is a pretty exciting finish here. Kind of what I expected in an FML final. Oh. Oh shit, what happened in the Priest of the Moon?
Town is under siege.
He staffed the wrong hero? I know EP123 said something about the staff. Sorry guys, I missed that part there. But yeah, he lost the Priest of the Moon. So what the hell happened? And literally Trunks can't revive. But you know, that's gonna kinda happen like with Orc. Like that's why I was saying like when it comes down to Hero Arena, the Orc heroes are gonna be so much better. Because if they catch you, like you're going to lose a hero, usually, right? And then if you lose your hero and you can't revive and you don't have the production buildings and the moon walls to do it, you know, advantage to the Orc, obviously. And they see that they should be teaming. Oh, look at this. Oh, big engagement here. Gargoyles against the Hare. Let's see if he can keep his Dreadlord alive. Oh, Dreadlord's going to go down. Oh! Wow, big crit from the Blade Master. Huge. Huge. That is just huge. That's huge that he killed the Priest of the Moon and that he was able to get the Dreadlord here. Uh-oh, is he going to be able to get the Demon Hunter here? Wow, huge kill. Huge kill. He can't revive. He cannot revive. Dreadlord is gone. Priest of the Moon is gone. Eshan still with the 3 heroes. He's still got the Frostworm to support his hero kills. He's got this goofy Ice Shard that doesn't really matter. I mean, he can sell the Ice Shard later, I suppose, for... You know what he should do is he should get a tiny Great Hall. Right? So he should build a shop, and then he should get a tiny Great Hall item and just hold it on his heroes. So just in case he loses these final buildings, he can place a last minute Great Hall somewhere. I mean, he's got his heroes now that he can't he has to be teamed out. Peace all. Eshan doesn't have much, but he has the gold, and he has the Zeppelins and the peon, and obviously he has the hero. So neither can engage him. And look at Trunks trying to get his hero back. It's not going to be successful. I don't think so.
Town is under siege.
Trunks sold items already. Boom. Look at the Naga. Sold all her items to try to get this Priest of the Moon back. But does it even really matter? Like, what's a Priest of the Moon right now? I mean, I guess the Outscouts are really important, but you're not going to win Hero Arena anyways. Wonder if the gold would be better used to have more trees, maybe more invulnerability potions for his heroes. This Naga is weak now.
A town is under siege. A player's forces are under attack.
Uh-oh. Oh! He blocked himself with the ward! Pro move. What does Eshan have? He only has this hall. He has this hall and an acolyte. That's it. I mean, and this peon, you know, but as far as buildings, he only has the Great Hall. What a nice spot, though. It's so hard to get to for these players without air units or a Zeppelin. Trunks rebuilding. He's going to get his hero back. He's determined to get his hero back. Sold another item. I don't think it's worth it to get the Priest of the Moon to sell all your items on your heroes like this. And what does Sheik have? Sheik is trying to get back his Dreadlord. Wow, that's a big commitment. Again, look at him. Sheik is selling all his items. I guess the Dreadlord is more important, but listen, you're not gonna. Oh, look at Eshan. He bought the Tiny Great Hall. Just what I was thinking that he should do. He bought it. That's gonna protect him in such a good way. If this hall goes down last minute, he's gonna drop this Tiny Great Hall, and he can protect the Tiny Great Hall with his heroes. Oh, he had the item the whole time. I guess I didn't see where he had it. He had it dropped and hidden somewhere. Eshan dropping it here in Trunks' old base. And that's an interesting spot too, right? Like, he's got to determine where to drop this. This is his only building. Yeah, I just think that Trunks would have been better served to not try to revive the Priest of the Moon. But I mean, do they just try to get all 6 heroes back and then just go all out on this Great Hall? I mean, he still has gold to build another hall with this peon, and he still has full items, right? I mean, he could sell the Devotion Aura, no problem. He could sell the Belt of Giant Strengths, both of them at this point. His heroes aren't at risk of dying, really. TC doesn't need the damage or the health. You know, you could keep everything else. I would just sell the belts and the Devotion Aura. Maybe even the Orb of Poison. You know, Eshan's in a good spot. But look at this. These gargoyles are scouting now, and they're clearing out these Zeppelins. Well, cleared out the Necropolis here. These gargoyles are important. It's really stopping Eshan from really sealing the win. I think he's still in a great position here. Did he lose his other Zeppelin? No, he didn't. Here's the Acolyte. Yep, no Inferno. No Priest of the Moon. And Sheik really tried. Like, Sheik tried to get his hero back. Trunks is out, guys. Oh! Last minute Necropolis. Last second Necropolis. He's going for it. Hippogriffs are in range. Needs another Hex. Oh, he's killing him to get the Dreadlord, I guess.
The player's forces are under attack.
Oh, it's a huge find by Eshan. Can't get the Dreadlord back now if he kills the Tree of Life. Oh, he is getting it back. Let's see if he scouts it.
A town is under siege.
Such a free win, annoying. Does he still have a tiny? He has another tiny. I'm not sure where he dropped those at, and wouldn't that be risky that another player would find it? Oh yeah, juicy. 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 So he's going after the Demon Hunter, leaving the Naga. I think that's fine. He could have used the Ice Shard there. Big range on the Stomp. These crits are knocking down the mana shield. Is he gonna staff? He's trying to hit both heroes. I think is actually pretty cool. Uh-oh. Can't lose the Blade Master. No Dreadlord. No Priest of the Moon. Is it too late though? Is it too late to stop Eshan here with full items in a tiny Great Hall? Dreadlord is back.
A player's forces are under attack.
Wow, good finish here, guys. For a 4-hour game, really nice close finish here. Not bringing the Dreadlord. Run, Shadowhunter. Wow, close. Eshan just has to not lose his heroes. No mana on the Blade Master. Oh no. Oh no. Torn Chieftain. Oh no. Look at Lulami rooting so hard against Eshan. Wow, pretty big mistake there, huh? He can't get his hero back. But, you know, this is a spot where maybe he doesn't need his hero, right? He has these units. He can go for a base kill. Yeah, good thing that the SH didn't die. I mean, obviously the Blade Master dying is really bad, but this tiny Great Hall. Wow, what an epic finish. Yeah, that's what he's saying. He could base race, and I agree. Sheik's got to attack these trees. There you go. What is going on here? Guess Sheik doesn't... I don't get it. Why he's not killing the Ziggurat. Hiding his Dreadlord. I don't know. I think there's no need to hide your Dreadlord. I guess he just doesn't want to get the attention on him. He doesn't want Trunks to attack him. I don't know. It's a bold move to hide the Dreadlord. But he sees the Infernal. So is it really hidden?
A player's forces are under
Yeah, Eshan has been selling his items now, and correctly he sold the orbs and the belt of strength, the devotion aura. He didn't need that stuff. And like he's got the Chimera and the Frostworm, which are just beautiful. It's such a good unit to go around the map and kill buildings. And if it gets down to fighting them with the heroes, he can fight them 1-on-2, especially if he doesn't bring his Dreadlord with the assistance of the Frostworm.
A town is under siege.
Last building for Trunks. He does have an Acolyte, and he can afford a Necropolis. 255 gold, right? I think so. I think it's 255. Probably know that. Why even respond? Okay, so here's the spot that he decided to lay that down. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get the Blade Master back. Or he could. But see, this is the difference. He's prioritizing buildings over the third hero, which is a different decision to what Trunks and Sheik has done. I give up. I really do. Okay. Uh-oh. We'll lose this wyvern here. Or not.
A player's forces are under siege.
Gotta be careful with these units. He doesn't have an orb on the Demon Hunter, so it's, I guess it's not that hard to face now.
A player's
There's the new
forces are under
Necropolis.
attack.
240 gold? I don't know. Oh, he's attacking his own fucking Frostworm with the Wind Rider. Did you guys see that? Oh, I was wondering when he was going to use that DH ultimate. Oh. So still no Blade Master, guys. Like, wow. This is close. Yeah, what? I guess, like, not showing the Dreadlord, I don't know. That's interesting. Like, the Undead's not even getting focused, so, I mean, obviously he doesn't want Trunks to go and try to eliminate him. Is he gonna kill the Necropolis? Yep, he's deciding to do it. So now he should TP. Sheik needs to TP. TP and use his Dreadlord. Dude. I would have 100% TP'd and used my Dreadlord and then killed these heroes. No TPs on these heroes. He could have killed all three between Sleep and Infernal. Then he would have had 3 heroes against Eshan's 2. Wow. That's too. You hit it for too long. I think they're already focusing him. It should have dropped the Dreadlord. So he still has one Wisp or Acolyte. Yep, in this Zeppelin. I mean, if you have a TP, like, why don't you use it? Especially when Trunks was exposed with no TP. And your Dreadlord was in position. I mean, he doesn't want them to focus him, but it's happening, right? Trunks still in a decent spot, man. He's still got gold for another main in his Zeppelin. Sheik has gold for another main in his Zeppelin. And Eshan doesn't. And it's crazy. They all only have 2 heroes. Well, excuse me. Sheik has 3 heroes, but he's not using his 3rd hero, so might as well be 2 heroes. Oh, he got the Blade Master back. Wow. I'm not sure how he got the Blade Master back. Seriously, where did he even revive that from? I mean, I know he sold more items, so he had gold. You're just keeping it in the Zeppelin, I guess.
Players' forces are under attack.
So always having that second building in time, that next building in time. Eshan's handling this endgame situation, I mean, pretty much perfectly. Obviously, he's made some mistakes losing heroes and stuff like that, but as far as strategy goes, really, really well played. Oh, Blade Master comes in. Surround his ass. Stomp. Yep, mana's going down. Run the Shadow Hunter. Oh. He's got a Hex coming in shortly.
A town is under siege.
No more Orb. Oh, look at that. Just go down. Wow. Still awesome DPS on the Blade Master. Hanaga goes down. Come on, use the Dreadlord now, dude. He needs to do something. with the Dreadlord, I know I'm just harping on this Dreadlord, but he could sleep one of Eshan's heroes, and he could die. He could lose right here if he had the Dreadlord, and he just doesn't. He's just not using the Dreadlord. Overthinking it. Full rebuild. Does this Wisp escape?
A town is under siege.
No.
The player's forces are under attack.
Oh, this is a big Wisp loss right here. Oh, he saved it. It's coming to the end here, guys. Eshan could lose it, but without the Dreadlord, I can't imagine. Oh, Trunks no items to rebuild. Oh, okay. I rebuild a Ziggurat though. I didn't have enough to rebuild a Necropolis.
A town is under siege.
Oh. Oh, yes, this one too still. So how about this, guys? A game where combined these players had 150,000 gold. Now combined, everyone has less than
Forces are
1,000.
under attack.
10 heroes. All sides. Useless Dreadlord. Useless Dreadlord. The Dreadlord could be using Infernals too. Like that's such a big thing about late game for Undead. Hero Arena is using the Infernals to go and scout buildings and base race. So not only has he been not using it to sleep and win these battles, and now he's going to lose his Death Knight. Wow. That's got to feel so bad to not use your Dreadlord and lose in this way.
A player's forces are under attack.
It's over. Where are you, meat? He's gone. Too late. He feels the wind now in his hands. Then there's the fucking Infernal. A lot of hate there from these guys on Eshan. Eshan played well, guys. He really did. Good game. Wow. Check out the player stats a little bit. Everyone had their fair share of hero kills, unit kills. Gold mine, Eshan certainly got the best of the map. Trunks was surrounded after that three-way, so I expect him to have the least amount of gold, but maybe he could have had more if he took that other mine in the top. Wow, all right. Good game. So Eshan gets his first FML title after playing for a long time and certainly trying to win for a long time. He definitely deserves it. He played best of these players. This was not an easy cast whatsoever, right? He eliminated Qwest early, which was ended up being a brilliant move. Faced Trunks and Sheik, and he definitely maniped and tried to get his way in a certain in different aspects, but he did, and he played well. And in the fights that he fought where he needed levels, like at critical moments, he got that. He played the end game almost perfectly with the tiny great halls, and he really outplayed these guys. So he really deserved it, I think, for sure. It's nice to see Eshan win as a random player, which is cool as someone that's been playing for a long time. He's from the US. So like him or not, he is the FML champion. I would say that it's well deserved. And I was just for fun, I was trying to put together a list of maybe the top 20 free-for-all players of all time, like in my opinion. And I think that Eshan is certainly up there. Maybe not the top 10, but he's top 10, top 15 players of all time in my opinion. Certainly maybe the best player as far as decision making and kind of a total game strategy in free-for-all, three ways, and using manipulation and understanding how to win in these tense situations. Really, really good at it, and I'm happy for him. Congrats to Eshan. Pretty good game from these other guys. Sheik played really well as far as fighting with the ground army early. He definitely made some critical mistakes in the end with his Dreadlord, and I guess even earlier with his Dreadlord, and maybe his lack of experience kind of showed in this game. Trunks played well too. It just really wasn't his style of game to sit there and hoard forever. At the end, he was manipulated and made the wrong choices. And not going after Eshan early enough and kind of engaging with the undead player. Maybe not preserving enough gold, selling all his items to his Priest of the Moon. There's a number of things that you can point to. But ultimately, Eshan played the best, I would say, for sure, and deserved to win this game.